is the VK Jones Show special edition. We've been doing this last couple of weeks. We appreciate you joining us. I am the hardest working man in sports and entertainment. VK Jones with you, and we're on 1 p.m. to 2:30 New Orleans time, 2 p.m. to 3:30 East Coast time. I'm live and direct from the VK Jones Studios in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And we have my co-host here, my brother from another mother, Mr. JB Steele. Yo, Dibs, Jared Boyd. What's going on with you, man?
Man, ain't nothing much, man. Just living, watching sports, going to high school football games, enjoying life. That's all I can say.
You're picking up the torch that I gave you, man. I really appreciate that, man.
Oh yeah, bro.
Uh,
I'm gonna keep it rolling.
that's it. That's what you got to do, man.
Oh,
Jared was out there Friday night for car and they had the car in Wet Warren Easton semifinal game. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Should be fun. We got some guests that's gonna be along here. Dashone Denhams will join us momentarily, and also momentarily we'll have a special guest for the day, the voice of Algiers. Yes, there are actually two voices of Algiers. We had Coach Tory Davis on the show a couple weeks ago. Now we have the other voice of Algiers, Hank Brady. He is actually the PA of the Edna Carr and the Landry Walker football games. Let me say LB Landry football games. So he is the voice in the PA system. So he's going to be on. He used to work with NOLA.com, has a lot of experience. So we'll talk with him later on. He'll talk a lot about Edna Carr, about the city of Algiers, and a lot
hey, was
of
he the voice of Old Perry Walker also years ago? Just Old Perry Walker?
yeah, he actually did a lot of the Algiers stuff. He long before, he's been there not too long, but I know before there was another guy that did the voice, but he done a lot of the voices later years after the '90s. I think he graduated the same year I did. He
Okay,
graduated from Edna Carr in '97, so he's younger to the game, but he's been there for a while.
gotcha.
So we'll talk more about that and everything. But we appreciate everybody joining us today. We'll talk some sports talk. We'll talk about the college football playoff. We'll talk about the matchups. We'll also talk about LSU, the wildness from last night's game. My goodness gracious, that was very unbelievable. We'll talk about that and LSU's future. We'll preview the New Orleans Saints today. Potential Super Bowl preview. Yes, potential Super Bowl preview. We'll talk about it today as they take on the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll have a preview of the LHSAA State Championships. Everything is all set in the non-select and select. We talked about the select championships. We'll focus more on the non-select side of the championships, who's going and everything else, right here on the VK Jones Show. Let's get things started. I want to get something off my chest right quick before we get to the college football playoff and stuff like that. First of all, I actually, we had, like we mentioned, Coach Tory Davis, Coach Toe. We had him a couple weeks ago. Now, very good guy, and he does a lot for the community in Algiers. He does a lot in the city of New Orleans, and he's been going in and out, and especially what Algiers has been going through recently, with a lot of the violence and all this other stuff. He is one of the main people up front that really is trying to make a change in the community, try to help these kids, try to, get the community up together and unify more than anything else, even though there's been a lot going on in the city lately. But recently, like he does some Algiers live, he does some lives and stuff, saying Facebook lives, talking about Algiers football. He does a little something with Algiers TV and everything. But he did a Facebook live earlier this week. It was very, very interesting. And he was talking about, and usually he calls Algiers the village. And recently he had a post that he actually posted. He shared a post from somebody else that stayed in Algiers, and right, it kind of baffled me, and I wasn't gonna worry about it too much, and I know he was kind of hurting about it, but when I seen the post, I'm sorry. I have to say something about this because when people are doing what they can to change their community, to change everything around in where you act, to try to change the environment, you have sometimes ignorant folks that's going to hate on what you're doing and is going to hate on the movement you're trying to do. So this one person, I'm not going to mention his whole name, but the ignorance that came out of his mouth in this post, and I'm going to read some of it to you. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read some of this to you. And this, to me, baffled me. It said, would people please call Algiers a mother effing village? Algiers is not and will never be a village. When you have people that only speak about certain crimes and only stand up when it hits home, there will never be leadership. If you want to make Algiers a village, first acknowledge everything that's going on and at least assist with everything that's going on. I'm not no civil rights speaker. No, what I don't even care. I'd have partners from the cutoff to Terrytown, and I've been there like a real dude supposed to, even though a person killed like that in the projects. I went to that service. That baby doesn't deserve that. I showed my respect, but I f there. There's no dad. I'm here. I'm there to support their parents. They need all the love they can get. It's dudes that never liked me, and I didn't f with them, but I'm there for their family and people cool with that. But also, he said to say that we need to make Algiers a village is more logic, and it needs to start now. I love Algiers. I'm so overwhelmed over this. Now, I understand where he's coming from with this more than anything else, and some of the I had to kind of clean things up because of the language, and some of the things was kind of a lot of misspellings a bit. But here's my thing, and I understand that I see you're trying to be out there and everything else. But my thing is this: you're not gonna knock a man that loves his community, loves everything about it, and has his own children go to the community school. My thing is this: what you're saying, I understand your passion, but it's freaking ignorant for freaking knocking a person or a lot of people calling a community what it is. It says in the good book, in the Bible, it says it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village. Do you ever read the Bible, sir? Do you ever look at anything like that? My thing is this: don't hate on the man because the man is up front doing what he got to do. Are you doing more than what you're doing right now? Or if you don't like what, why don't you go talk to the man yourself in his face? And then after that, why don't you go help? Be part of the solution, not the problem. You're making it a problem when you go against the man. And I don't appreciate that. Tori, Coach Toe, bruh, I got your back on this. I'm gonna tell you straight up right now. And some people might say you're not from Algiers. No, I'm not from Algiers. I'm from Marrero. But God dog, Algiers is like another home. Because my grandmother stayed 3 doors, 3 houses down from LB Landry. Thank you very much. I went to an elementary school in Algiers. So don't freaking tell me that I'm not from there. I'm West Bank down and I don't give a damn where I'm from. I love the whole West Bank. So plain and simple, you gonna leave Coach Toe alone. You gonna let him do what he do to help the community. And don't freaking hate on somebody who's trying to change the game. If you're not out there trying to have a solution to the problem, you're the damn sellout. You're the sellout. And that's all I got to say about that. I had to get that off my chest before we go into the show because that kind of baffled me. It was kind of ignorant by the person who put that post out there and everything else. And I felt Coach Toe's pain, what he was saying on the live, because there's been a lot going on there, especially the violence in that area. And that post was not needed at all. I know, Jerry. I know you might want to say a little something about it. If I know you're not aware of it,
Yeah,
but I just want to get
I
all
mean,
that clear.
I'm not gonna speak about anything that I really don't know all the info about. So you got
Right.
more info on me, so I'll let you have that one because I don't really know, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. But it's just the fact it was an issue in itself that there's been a lot going. You know about the violence that's been going on in Algiers lately,
of course, yeah,
and Tori has been so upfront trying to help the community, doing all kind of organizations and stuff and everything to try to peace things, get some kind of peace, some kind of stability around that area. We talk about the whole Algiers
hmm
from cut off all the way down. So it's something else when a person with the post that he talked about not calling Algiers a village and it's kind of really ignorant. And that's why I wanted to point that out because I'm like, this man's doing everything he can. If you want to be part of the problem, part of the solution, just go help the man or go find people to help. Do what you can to help the community, bro. Don't hate on a person that tries. I can't stand that. That's why people leave the state because there's a lack in damn support. And people, and it's something else when people outside your kind help you more than your own kind. And yes, I'm saying that because it didn't happen to me. And trust me, I love my people and I'll always love my people. But God dog, I'm gonna call them out as I see it because I know plenty of people that didn't help me and should have. Am I pissed off at it? No, I'm not pissed off. I moved on. I forgive those people for that. But at the same time, I wish they would have helped. And they should have. But oh well. But it is what it is. But I'm not gonna let nobody call me whatever what it is and tell me, no, you're not gonna dictate what the hell I do. So that's what it is. And nobody don't need to dictate what Coach Toe need to damn do. And I'm just saying that as a brother, because that's not cool. But we'll move on from that. Just wanted to get this on my chest at first. But right now coming onto the scene. I don't know if you hear us, Hank. We got
Yeah,
our
I can hear
special
you
guest.
guys.
Good, good, good. We got our special guest for today. Hopefully, let's see if you can straighten your screen out a little bit if you could. But we got a special guest for today. He is one of the voices of Algiers. He's been calling games in the booth for the last, I believe, like 15 years or something. Hoping
Something
I'm
like
right.
that. Something like that. I think we had a little Katrina situation and we was relocated and we came back and we kept it popping. So maybe a year or two in and out. But yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, and he really picked it up a lot because there have been a lot of voices. He'll talk about that a little bit, but he's the voice of Algiers. You see him calling games for Edna Carr, calling games for LB Landry, even on Perry Walker when it was open back in the day. But this guy here worked through NOLA.com and has a lot of experience in sports, still doing little things left and right. But we glad to have him on the show. Hank Brady joining us today. Hank, how you doing?
How you guys doing today, man? Lazy Sunday. Some really terrible NFL games right now on. I'm playing Dragon Ball Xenoverse right here on my big screen. So I got Dragon Ball Xenoverse going. The game's going on three different screens. So I'm here to stop. Put the game on pause right now. Somebody just kicked my ass. So I'm right here ready to talk with you guys.
yes,
Wow, man.
yes.
I'm like this, man. You must got an ultimate man cave where you at. Cause you say you got a big screen and three screens with the game. That's crazy.
Yes, I got three screens of the games going right. I got the Dolphins going on the main TV. I got Seattle and Washington on the bottom TV. That's a terrible game. And I got Red Zone going on the other monitor. I mean, once they added that HDMI element to all the little monitors, you was in. I mean, because monitors don't cost nothing now. Back in the day, it used to cost like 100, 150, 200 for a monitor. Now you can get one at the thrift store. You can get one at Goodwill. You can get one around the corner for like
Yep.
10, $15.
Yes.
Set up your whole
Yeah.
man cave with screens everywhere. I got flat screens all up in this mug. So lazy Sunday, man, chilling with the screens up in here. The big screen got the Dragon Ball Xenoverse on. If you see over here, you see that right there. That's my creative
uh,
player, Hank's Threeza. Like after Frieza, it's Hank's Threeza. So he chilling. and ready to have another versus battle after we talk some of this football, guys.
well, Jared JB, he goes by I think Jay Breezer, I believe, on
No,
Instagram, I think.
it's not,
Or
no. Hold on. Wait a
okay,
minute. Let me
I'm gonna get
correct
it.
you.
No, go ahead, get it right, bro. I don't want to get it wrong.
So Instagram is JB the Master. Because I'm a master instructor in Taekwondo. YouTube is JBizza 1229.
Bizza, okay, Jay
Yeah,
Bizza,
yeah,
got it.
yeah.
We
Uh-huh.
got
Jay Bizza.
Taekwondo master up in here, huh?
Oh
All
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
We
He's
got
a
Taekwondo masters and LGs?
man.
I mean,
He's actually Marrero
Marrero,
slash
yeah.
West
Okay, all
Rigo.
right. Well, New Orleans area extended. You know how we play it. I mean,
Oh,
all right, all right.
oh yeah. Oh
So you
yeah.
be
Yeah,
up in that spot on Bell Chase?
No, I haven't been at the spot on Bell Chase. I know what you're talking about, but no,
Okay.
Yeah, my school.
Everybody know that spot. That spot been there for 100 years. That's where every kid
Yeah.
go to learn some Taekwondo right there.
But yeah, my school is actually is on Barataria in Marrero.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. You're talking to a three-time,
Fo-
like I said, four-time. He's a four-time world champion. So he's well known, and
Oh,
now
damn.
he's
So you doing the real Xenoverse. So, okay, all
Yeah.
right. So I'm doing the virtual joint. You out here really kicking ass. All right, I
Yeah.
feel you. Hey, look. Hey, do what you gotta. Do what you got. I'm gonna be on these sticks doing it.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
yeah. He's a grandmaster right now, so it's all good. Dashone Denham's joining us right now. Dashone, what's going on with you, man? Welcome to the show.
Oh,
Good
what's up,
morning, fellas.
man?
Good evening.
Dash, what's going on?
What you say? Hey, how you feeling? I'm cooling, bro. How you feeling?
All right.
Now, see, Hank, I told you you're gonna be okay, man. I told you, like, you when you come on, you're gonna be just fine. I told you we're gonna have your back, bro. And anything,
Cool.
we're gonna have your back, bro.
Just
But
throw me in the fire. I'm good.
yes, sir. We're gonna get into the college football playoff. I just made a little tidbit right quick on you're not just the only voice of Algiers. There's another voice. You might know him a little bit. You ever heard of Mr. Coach Torrey Davis, Perry Walker graduate, Algiers TV?
I
You
think
know him,
so.
and
I
you've
think
seen
so.
him a million times.
Oh, you talking about the man with the mustache with the little camera and all that? Is that who I'm talking
Yeah,
about? The guy who does it on Cox sometimes and used to do
yeah.
like I guess maybe the public access
No,
of the games and whatnot.
I think he does.
I
Not
don't
because
know. I don't know.
he did a lot. He
You
did a lot with
you've seen him before,
um.
been in the
Like
same
he talks
area.
super proper. Is that him?
No,
Okay,
No,
I'm on the wrong wavelength then. All right. Let's move
no.
on then.
He covers not just Algiers with Carr and Oper Walker and Landry Walker. He covers a lot through youth sports too.
Okay.
So yeah, he's an Oper Walker graduate. So
Okay.
he's out there like that. I was just making a viewpoint on him because he's up front in the community. Like this guy be out there. And he was kind of like feeling kind of down because of a post that was saying that somebody said that stop calling Algiers the village. So that I had just had to make a viewpoint on it this afternoon on the start of the show because I kind of didn't appreciate the post because he's out there up front helping the community, and I don't appreciate somebody come out try to hate on the man who's doing what they can to try to bring the community together. And I know you're one of the other people that's been up front, been in an Algiers area too, trying to do what you can to get the community together. I know Algiers mean a lot to you too, I think.
Yeah, Algiers definitely, man. I mean, I think that Algiers is kind of like a jewel, and as we look at it in terms of sports, I mean, I don't think anyone understands the level of talent and the level of players that have gone through this area. I mean, a lot of people think about when they talk about Carr, for example. Carr is right now a top 25 team in the nation. In high school, and a lot of people are think, wow, and they just built their program up from the '90s. So no, man. Carr been there from Algiers from the '60s, man. It was a junior high. It was getting all these junior. Carr has one of the best junior high programs ever in the state. And instead of those players leaving and going to Lawless and going to Walker and all the other high schools, they stayed at Carr. And that's how the program was able to finally build. Obviously, they were able to get some more players from other areas because they're a great recruiting school as well. But yeah, they've been playing in Algiers for a long, long time, and it's just so great to see that finally we getting to this point where it's like a lot of recognition now on the type of athletes and the type of players we have coming out of this area. So for me, I mean, Algiers has always been a hidden gem, and it's just nice right now to see kind of the results of all those years of people not really knowing about us. Now people know you can get some talent out of Algiers, man, and this it's not just talent that's going to the next level. It's talent going to the pros.
Exactly the point, and you're right about that. And we're gonna ask more about Algiers more later because I want to get your thoughts, not just with Ed in the car, but the change that was happening with Landry. I just want to get upon that
Hmm.
later on to get your viewpoint on that because I was trying to ask Tori. We had him on the show a couple weeks ago. We had a little technical difficulty, but at the same time, I want to get your viewpoints on that too because it kind of baffled
Sure. I mean,
me.
what's the
And
context? What's the context? I mean, I'm sure I'll talk about it. What's the context?
well, I'm gonna talk about it later on when we get to the high
Okay.
school. But the
All
context
right.
meaning like why did the change happen and shouldn't it ever happened at all?
You talking about
Because
just the change in name
the
and
change in
put?
name,
Okay. Oh yeah. I got a lot to say about that. Then yeah. I got a lot on
yeah,
that.
yeah. Because trust me, what I seen right there, and I did a little diatribe on it. It was the fact that it was something to me that could have been great, really great. But I'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the college
Okay.
football playoffs right now. Deshaun, we appreciate you joining us here. Um, we got everything set for college football playoff now. They made the announcement today of the top four teams in the country. The number one team in the nation is Alabama. Number two, Clemson. Three, Ohio State. And four, Notre Dame, which is not a surprise to a
Okay.
lot of people, but at the same time, some might be surprised. But the matchups are set. Semifinals, the it's the Rose Bowl presented by Capital One, which been moved, announced this morning. It's been moved. It's not going to be in Pasadena. It will be in Arlington, Texas. It
Oh
will be
wow.
Alabama and Notre Dame for the first semifinal. Second semifinal will be in the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans. Number two, Clemson. Number three, Ohio State. They will battle once again. Jared JB Boyd, you pretty much the college football expert that's been up front on a lot of these things. No disrespect to you, Deshaun, because I know you be up front too. So I'm gonna start with you, Jared.
I ain't
Your
say
thoughts
anything.
on? No, I, I just said that. I was just saying that to show because I know you and I know Jared. Sometimes somebody might say a remark. Oh, you forgot about me? No, 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 not so.
Nah,
But
nah,
I was just
I
making
ain't
sure.
think like that, man.
That's why I like you, bro. Jared, your thoughts on the top four, man?
The top four is correct. Top four is correct. Um, we don't have to debate about Alabama at all. That's number one. We don't have to debate about Clemson. That's number two. Ohio State, as far as the eye test compared to A&M, Cincinnati, to me, to me, they look good. They look better than an A&M. They look better than a Cincinnati, in my opinion. I would put them in. Also, a lot of people were upset with the rule change. I get it. I understand why they are upset, but don't get it wrong. The Big Ten wants that money. They want that college football
Yeah.
playoff money. That's why that was done. Now, in regards to Notre Dame and Texas A&M, okay, this is what I said, and this is what I believe, and I posted what the chairman of the college football playoff committee said today is exactly what I said early this morning on Facebook Live. So yeah, A&M plays a better schedule, SEC schedule, than compared to the ACC. But the ACC has been better this year. They've had six teams ranked in the top 25. Now, A&M has only played two top 25 games. One against Alabama, they lost. One against Florida, when Florida was number 4, and they beat Florida. You compare that resume to a Notre Dame who beat a number 1 Clemson, who beat a number 13 UNC, and who lost to a number 3 Clemson. The resume speaks for itself. Also, I wasn't really ever that impressed with Texas A&M in regards to an eye test compared to Notre Dame. So I believe the committee got it done correctly. The correct four teams are in my opinion.
Jared, man, I'm gonna say this right now. You took the words a little bit out of my mouth when you said the ACC. And my golly, I'm gonna say thank you, brother. Thank you. Because some people have disrespected the ACC for too long. And I told you there have been years the ACC been coming up. Y'all gonna respect the ACC. Hank, your thoughts.
My thoughts is how bad is Notre Dame going to get their ass kicked? And I mean, that's just basically what happens every year. You can basically set your clock to it, your watch to it. So Notre Dame will get their ass kicked, and then Clemson will probably win, and then we'll probably be looking at Alabama, Clemson for the 100th year in a row. And it's a COVID season, and all the teams that's mad, they could just say it's a COVID season. None of this counts. But we'll all sit there, we'll watch and enjoy it. I just don't see how Notre Dame, after they just got handed the Clemson, that they're going to do anything against Alabama. Alabama just kind of just does what it wants. What a little disappointed with Alabama in the Florida game, just from the standpoint of giving up 46 points. I mean, you're a dominant, super dominant team. I mean, you're giving up 46 points. Are the football gods loving that? I don't know about that, but they're putting 50 points on the board every time down the road, and I can't see Notre Dame stopping or doing anything to deal with that. I would be shocked out of existence. I think all four of us would be shocked out of existence if Notre Dame was able to come out of there with that victory. So I think we're going to all go ahead and just knock that one down for Alabama. I think Clemson is going to be back in it again. So these playoffs, I got my feelings on them this way and that way. I think this year with the COVID season, they did a good enough job of just getting through the meat grinder on this one to give us something. So I'm good with it. I'm not really mad at Notre Dame being in that fourth spot. They did beat Clemson. They did stay undefeated. Look, Notre Dame has a path that no other team has. They don't play, strictly in a conference. They can just win all their games, and if they lose one game, they still have an opportunity to get in. That's why they don't join a conference, because they know that's what they can do. So from that standpoint, they're in the game, and kudos to see this once again as an Alabama Clemson thing coming up.
Well, Dashone, I tell you, I know you waiting. You're chomping about a bitch. What you got to say, my man? Go ahead.
Well, I mean, to be totally honest, I agree with both JB and Hank in their assessment of what's taking place. But let me paint a different picture. So I'm not a fan of Notre Dame actually occupying the fourth spot. But the question on the back end is, well, who else would you have put in? You mentioned that Texas A&M was sitting there, but I mean, they're a well-coached team. That's Jimbo Fisher. But are they one of the best teams in the nation? No, they're average at best. I think them and North Carolina are probably on the same parallel in terms of talent and kind of what they present on a day in and day out basis. So I think the committee got it right, but they got it right because who else were they going to put in? It wasn't a case of, we nailed these four out of the eight we were choosing from. They literally were choosing from 4.5 teams. And I say and a half because there was some outside chance of someone else getting in. So I don't see how you can think that Notre Dame better teams in the country. I think this is a case to where there are probably three of the best teams in the country, and then Notre Dame starts to tear the good teams, them, Texas A&M, North Carolina, but they're not one of the best teams in the country. They just lost 34-10, and they're about to get boat raced by Alabama in a few days. And none of us are in disagreement. Nobody's giving them a shot. It would probably awaken everyone's soul in the event that Notre Dame beats Alabama. So I don't see that happening to your credit, Hank. But what I will say is the committee got it right. But what else were they going to do? I mean, we could have got that right. We literally could have conversed amongst each other and got that
right. Absolutely. I'm gonna be. I love y'all analysis, your points. Very good points. I'm agree with Jared on this one. They got it right on the top four. They definitely got it right. Bama, there's no doubt that they got into the playoff. Clemson, they really got hot at the right time. I think the Trevor Lawrence was the difference against Notre Dame. Ohio State getting there by default, but at the same time, congratulations to them. Northwestern had a great first half, and that's why you played 4 quarters. and Ohio State did what they had to do to win. Trey Sermon had over 300 yards. So, I'm be honest with you, against Clemson, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. I'll tell you about that in a second. What I feel about this, but Notre Dame being the fourth one is the right one, right choice. ACC better conference this year, better conference,
overall.
no doubt. 5 ranked teams right now, and also who Notre
All it
Dame
took
beat
was
this
a
year.
virus overtaking the world for the ACC to do this, though.
I don't know. You got to think the ACC. They've been having some big years now. People forgot about the national championship with Trevor Lawrence won it, and the ACC had won 10 bowl games, 3-1
Was
against
that
the
Clemson?
SEC.
Was that Clemson winning those games, or was it the ACC?
No, it was the
ACC
ACC.
won 10
You got to
games,
think. You got to think about it. The combination of that,
Okay.
and then don't forget the first time when they won the national championship with Deshaun Watson, Heisman, 10 bowl wins, 4-1 against the SEC overall. So you got to respect
Clemson's
the
a beast. I respect Clemson.
but the conference is a beast too.
Well,
they really stepped up. But for this year particularly, COVID is one thing, but the conference didn't really step up. Comparing the SEC this year,
And
the SEC was terrible.
This year we're talking about this year. That's what I'm saying. We're talking about this year. We're talking about LSU losing 19 seniors to NFL and guys opting out left and right, and Waddle hurt his leg. So another wide receiver said, "I'm not gonna play." So look, it's been wild, man.
It's been a wild year.
I will respect whoever wins. I'll respect it within the context of the year, and that's how I'm gonna look at it.
Let's also remember this. Notre Dame joining the conference for 1 year helped that conference out tremendously. Tremendously.
It did.
Okay. So I agree with that take that Notre Dame joined the conference. However, I don't necessarily think that it's smart on Notre Dame's part. I don't think that is fair because going into next year, you're going to have the ACC pretty much restructured again. Everybody's rebuilding once again, and so you're going to be looking to Clemson to hold the flag. You would like to think that Miami would rebound and build up on the success that they had, which probably won't happen because they don't have a quarterback and they won't have Derrick King for next year.
If he's smart, he'll come back for 1 more year.
If he leaves.
Yeah, but
what's he projected? What's he projected?
We don't know. I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I know that the quarterback position is changing, but he's a football player. He's not necessarily my quarterback. He's definitely a football player. He's a baller, without a doubt.
He can play, and I think 1 more year, and he's been talking about maybe coming back next year. That'll be huge if he does come back, especially with the experience Miami got coming back. That could be a really good team next year, especially the home dates they're going to have next year if everything goes to snuff. But I think the conference might be much better. Well, go ahead. Yeah, and it depends on what happens. Right.
You have like the SEC. You have the SEC with what top heavy in terms of teams, and you have a good bit of them that pretty much do well every year. They have the 8-win team, and that was the vision initially when the ACC expanded. Hey, we're gonna have some top heavy teams, and then we're gonna compete throughout. It just hasn't happened. On both ends, either we have top heavy teams, and then the rest of the conference bad, or we have a good meat teams, and then we just look average. That's really what the identity of the ACC has been since they decided to expand, since they've divided into 2 sides. It has not worked out on both sides, but the moment that it does, I think that they'll be the best conference to give the SEC a run for their money. I think they're the only conference that can do it. I can't see it happening in the Big Ten or the Pac-12. It takes too much from a recruiting standpoint to get all of those teams on, but the ACC is prime because it's also in the South. So I think that we haven't seen it at its best yet. To what you were asking earlier.
I think that's the reason why Florida State has not left the ACC. They know it ain't just the fact that they dominated. They know what's going on. They know, and that's why they're not. It's not smart for them to leave.
Yeah, what would they be benefiting by? Did they leave the ACC? They're going to join the SEC conference. They leave the ACC, and so now you have to compete with 4 other teams inside. I mean, that would be it does nothing for Florida State's brand. It just makes
that's why I say it's smart for them not to leave.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't, because they're talking about, they should leave. Hell no. After what they done when they came to the ACC? Are you kidding me?
If they ever leave, they're leaving for more money. That's it. But other than that, if they smart and want to compete, they need to stay.
More
and does the Big East exist? Does the Big East still exist?
In basketball.
That's what they'd be doing. They'd be creating the Big East. The Big East that's the only thing they can go.
But then you think
they'd have to create a new conference.
And that's a big mistake I think Texas A&M made, and I think that's the mistake Missouri made. Missouri made a huge mistake.
Well, Missouri made a huge mistake. I think Texas A&M all right.
No. Texas A&M is okay.
We're not going to say Missouri made a huge mistake when they were in the SEC title game for like 3-4 years straight.
You right on that. But I'm saying in purely in wins and in sustainability. I mean, they're going to be a middle of the road for the rest of their existence. So from that perspective, they're going to get a bigger paycheck than what they were getting previously when you're in another conference. But ain't nobody going to Missouri, man.
Nah, not at all.
Nobody was really going.
Had they stayed in the Big 12, they winning.
But thank you.
Yeah, they'd be winning with a lesser paycheck.
But they were still making straight money. But even with a paycheck, it don't matter. You having kids coming there. Because we win in all sports. Now...
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm saying the powers that be want the SEC check.
I'll tell you this,
Go ahead.
If Missouri had never left the Big 12 and stayed in all these years that they actually competed in the SEC title game, we could be talking about Missouri in a national championship title game if they stayed in the Big 12.
Because Texas has been great. Texas hasn't been great. The door has been open for them. They took that money grab. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing because, hey, you can say I'm Missouri, I'm the SEC. That's going to get some folks excited, get some people, get some kids to go to your school. But if you're not winning consistently in the SEC, it's kind of like, I mean, when you're Vanderbilt, when you're Kentucky, I mean, you're in the SEC, but what are you really?
Exactly. It works for SEC works for certain schools, but it don't work for everybody.
I think Texas A&M is fine. I think they got their super high profile coach that they want. They're still making money hand over fist. If they upset Alabama, they upset LSU every now and again, they'll have a chance to get into the playoffs. So from Texas A&M position, I think that they're okay. But Missouri, I mean, other than people who live in Missouri and us talking on this little 4-man quadrant, I don't think many people talk about Missouri. So, I mean, you want to be relevant. You want to keep your name out there. I don't think Missouri has gotten a great trade-off for that. But, I mean, again, the SEC check, and that must be the most important thing.
And I feel that, but to me, if I'm an AD and whatever, I'd rather be in a position to win and be successful than the freaking check. That if you be winning and successful, the money gonna come. You don't win, the money not coming.
I thought they thought. I think
about SEC money.
Well, SEC money, yes, automatic. You're right, but still, like, I'd rather be somewhat be in a position to be successful, not to get my tail being kicked every year.
Well, look at it like this. If you're the AD, right, and you have the Big 12 conference, which does not have its own network. Texas has its own network. You see what I'm saying? The only people that were eating was Texas and Oklahoma. So the opportunity comes. And the SEC is knocking. They like, hey, we want you and another team to join our conference. That's a tough deal to turn down on paper.
Yeah,
right?
Especially if you Texas and you're middle of the road, you're making money hand over fist. If you're middle of the road and you're Texas,
correct.
Missouri middle of the road is nothing.
Yes.
And so middle of the road SEC, at least they know that they're going to get a figure out of that.
Right, and that was the.
This is not about the players. This has nothing to do with the player. Like we talk now, obviously the players' position would be much better to be in a conference where they could actually compete and win. But I mean, they're not thinking along, thinking, hey, we can have that one shine. Like my man talked about a few years ago when Missouri was in the championship game a couple of times. That was their reasoning for getting in the SEC. Right, won any of those games, it would have been valid if they had tried. So if they have a shot every few years to do something, I'll be cool with that.
And that's good for Missouri. And that's good for Missouri. But here's my little shade on this thing with them making the SEC championship game. They were fortunate that Florida sucked and Georgia had an off year. And like I said, sometimes, and it's just like with Kentucky. Don't get me wrong. That one year, a couple years ago, great team. Great team. Finally beat Florida. And I already knew right then and there, this is Kentucky year. This has got to be Kentucky year. Because if you finally beat Florida after once in 30-something freaking years, it's almost like this is your season. But this is not going to happen every year because there's two teams you have to look out for. There's Georgia, Florida. If they suck, guess what? It's your chance to win. And that's why
Got a shot.
they got a shot. That's what it was. And their best chance was against Auburn in a great game, and Auburn wound up pulling that thing out. So, hey, no knocking Missouri, but like I said, you sometimes you have to be fortunate, But the SEC check, you make a good point, Hank. It's a tough little bill more than anything. But my gripe a little bit, right quick, is between number 5 and 6. The fifth seed is the 5th ranked team is Texas A&M, which very much is right. Texas A&M had a great season. They deserve the 5. Number 6 is Oklahoma. And this is what I don't like. And this is why Cincinnati or Coastal Carolina might not get a New Year's Day game because of the fact Oklahoma.
Cincinnati get a New Year's Day game. They the highest group of 6. They're getting it.
Yeah, highest group. I hope they do. It's just the fact with that one of those teams could have been number 6. I don't think I would have put no Oklahoma, knowing the year that I'm knocking them. They won the Big 12, but at the same time, they had to come out of a wide open Big 12, and Iowa State could have held on to number 6, knowing the season that they had, and a great season, but they screwed everything up. They lost yesterday, and that cost them. You know what I'm saying? But I really thought that Cincinnati maybe could have went ahead of Oklahoma. Or not just that, maybe I'm not gonna say Coastal Carolina got the 6. Somebody else could have got the 6. You know what I'm saying? I thought Cincinnati would have been. Yeah, go ahead.
In regards to 5th, 6th, whatever, they not in the playoffs. They weren't making the playoffs, so it doesn't matter. Cincinnati will be happy with going to a New Year's 6 bowl game. Doesn't matter if they weren't going regardless. They weren't going regardless of strength of schedule compared to the top 4. It wasn't going to happen. But they had a great season. They're undefeated, and they go into a New Year's 6 bowl game, which is what every group of 6 team makes their goal.
So we're good with this every year. We're good with this every year, having 1 or 2 Cinderella type teams who may be deserving a bit into the playoffs, but they don't have the strength of schedule, and they'll never have the strength of schedule because their conference and the non-conference games that they play just will never be able to get the power points to be able to compete with an SEC team. So we're just cool with this each and every year. We're going to have
I don't think
Alabama, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and that's it. And then we're going to be talking about the Chattahoogas and whoever. I just wish we could do something about this system.
I think we should need to expand this thing. It needs to go to 8. It needs to go to 6 or 8 teams. You gotta let one of them. Here's a great example of a good conference, and I don't care what anybody say in the nation. See what the Sun Belt did this year? The Sun Belt. You had 4 teams ranked this year from the Sun Belt, and right now you have 2 of them. And you look at some of their you look at their records this year. You look at Coastal Carolina, who's undefeated. You look at Louisiana Lafayette, probably one of the luckiest teams, Jared, like you said. They finished with a 9-1 record. Great season for them. Appalachian State, who had a great season, 8-3. They've been a program that has been on the up and up lately. So, and that conference is tough because of the fact everybody beating each other up. And look what they did in the non-conference this year. 4-0 against the Big 12. So you cannot tell me that a conference like the Sun Belt would have at least one team, especially if they finish off a good year with a nice schedule. If they pull off a Houston, what Houston did years ago, all of a sudden they fouled up. They scheduled one good ranked team early, get the win, and all of a sudden win out. Guess what? You got a spot in the playoff. They cannot deny you.
So that's why you got to expand. That's why you got to expand this thing, because I think you got to expand this thing for no other reason than you have to give those fringe teams, like you mentioned, an opportunity to get into the game, to at least, give them something to achieve or to look forward to. I mean, if every year it's just going to be Oklahoma, every year we're arguing what Oklahoma, Ohio State. That's kind of like those aren't little schools. Those aren't
The Blue
like
Bloods. The Blue Bloods.
I can. Those aren't the little trains that I can. Those are teams that should probably get in the playoff anyway. And we're always arguing about like these majesty teams, these dynasty teams. Oh man, look, a dynasty team can't make it into the 5 spot. We should be talking about the Coastal Carolina making it into the 7th spot or the 8th spot or the 6th spot, giving them a chance. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of this thing if we don't give the opportunity for teams that come out of the blue and have amazing seasons an opportunity to take a bite at this thing? And so from my perspective, that's always been the hardest thing for me to kind of get. Obviously, I get excited for the national championship game or not necessarily the playoffs, more the championship game for me. But for me, I would like to see something done to expand it to where some of these teams, like the teams you're talking about, just get an opportunity to bite at this apple. They deserve it, especially in a COVID season like this, where a lot of teams didn't play. A lot of great players just said, "The hell, I'm not even playing this year." And still, despite that, the lower end teams don't even get a chance at the playoffs. It's still going to be the same 4 or 5 guys that we're arguing over. So I just wish they do something, put in a component to help those teams.
Yeah, they really do. They really need to. And to be honest, I really thought Cincinnati had a shot if Ohio State would have lost, and they didn't. So that left Cincinnati out. I really thought they would slide in because the fact of the matter is they're undefeated. The American Conference is a good conference, and
very good
they
conference.
had their shot right there. The American Conference has been a good conference. Hey, don't forget about that year a couple years ago when they went undefeated against the SEC and had 5 teams in a bowl. This is a good conference. This is not no Conference USA.
What conference is Central Florida? What conference is that?
That's the American Conference. The American Conference.
Yeah, man, it was killing it. Yeah, a couple years ago. Yeah, they looked as good as anybody in the nation, especially at the skill position. That's where you might not get it from the offensive line or defensive line, but the skill position in those conferences are just as good as you can find in America. And I think that goes to how high school has changed with the 7-on-7 and the tournaments in the off season and stuff like that. You'll always be able to find good quarterbacks that get the ball out of their hands quick, good wide receivers that catch it quick. So you're going to have that all across the nation. It's just about giving these guys the opportunity, a chance to play with the big boys. I mean, we know Alabama probably would withdraw whoever they face, but I think if you have an 18 playoff or God forbid, God would maybe a 12-team playoff or something like that, you could get some of these teams in here. You could get you could jazz up some attention for them. 16. Look. Hey, dude, as a freshman in college, I did a report as a freshman in college where I said, let's do 25. Let's make every bowl game part of the playoffs. Let this be it. I got a B on the subject, and some people were mad at me when I did my presentation because they wasn't ready for that in the year 2000. They wasn't ready for none of that. Still the people, the AP to vote and all of that. But I've been a proponent of playoff for a very, very long time. I just don't see it ever happening because of the corporate sponsors and whatnot. But if we can keep inching this thing, make inch to 8, then maybe in a few years into 12. I think maybe 12 is the best we can get. You can get some of these teams that have these Cinderella seasons. I think these Cinderella season teams deserve, just for the overall feel of college football, to feel like everyone has a chance. I think you got to get these guys in here for every once in a while.
I agree. That would be awesome right then and there, and we'll definitely see down the line if the expansion can happen more than anything else. The college football playoffs.
If Notre gets a 50 burg on them, what's different than Central Florida getting a 50 burg on them?
Right. So, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this about the playoff. One of the playoff games, I'm like this. Clemson, Ohio State. I don't think that thing might not even be close. I don't think it's not gonna even be close, that game.
I think it will.
And
I think it will. I think it will.
Nope. I don't think so. I think I'm gonna say this.
I don't know what to expect.
I don't think it's gonna be close.
Oh, I think it will.
My thing
I think it will, because Ohio State feels as if they got robbed with that strip that they called a catch and forward progress called, and then Sean Wade got ejected. Ohio State Ohio State has it on their mind. This is why
They do.
Justin
They
Fields
do.
was
But
fighting for them to play because he wanted another shot at the playoffs. I'm
that's
telling you,
true.
man, this is gonna be
That's
close.
true.
It's gonna be a
This
battle.
is not. I don't think it's going to be close for one reason only, and one reason only. That Clemson schedule, and then on top of that, that experience Clemson got, and the fact
Ohio
they've been
State
in.
got experience too. What you talking about?
I'm not saying. I'm not. I'm saying it's a part of it. I'm not saying Ohio State don't have experience. I'm not saying that at all. But I think Clemson has been in too many battles, and it's going to show. And Ohio State just not going to have enough. They're not going to have enough. I just don't see. It might be close early. But here comes Clemson. Once they settle down, they take off. Look out. Now Notre Dame, Alabama, Bama better not take Notre Dame lightly. And I'm telling you
I
now,
don't think they will.
Nick Saban won't let that happen.
I'm one
I
of the
don't
few
think that
people that's
will.
gonna say Notre Dame got a shot. Notre Dame got a shot because I'm gonna tell you
don't
this
know.
right now. Two teams exposed
Wait,
Bama.
you said Notre Dame got a shot?
Yes, two
They got a
teams
shotgun.
exposed Bama. Two teams exposed Bama, and that's Ole Miss and Florida. And they got by Florida last night after a bad loss. Now tell me something about that. Think about this. Ole Miss could have beat Bama if they would have stopped them one time. Just one time. Cause I'm gonna tell you one thing.
This
The
year?
coach at Ole Miss, he coached
This-
a masterful freaking game. They just couldn't stop Bama.
This
They
year?
just couldn't stop Bama. Yes,
What was-
you into that shootout?
What? It was a shootout?
Yes. Bama barely got by 6. Actually,
Okay.
they barely got by 10 points. Come
Okay.
on,
I think
man.
those guys are going to be motivated. I think it's going to be a different level of motivation
It might
when
be
they take on Notre Dame.
But I just think Notre Dame got a shot.
See how
It's just,
teams play when they have nothing to play for in the bowl season.
that's true.
They play like crap.
That's
When
true.
they have something to play for,
They don't.
so that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting them to play like they got something to play for versus Notre Dame. And then when they play Clemson, that'll be obviously if Clemson gets past Ohio State, that'll be once again one of those drag down fights with two incredible talented teams, and it'll be Trevor Lawrence versus. This will be the first time Mac Brown. This will be the first time on the national stage. Matt Jones, I'm sorry. It'll be the first time on the national stage that we'll have to have. Mac Jones is up for the challenge, and I think that honestly, that's the only question that Alabama has to answer. He's been playing. Let's see if he plays in a shit game versus a team that has beaten you before. So to me, that's the only question that they have to answer in the playoff.
Shout out to the Devontae Smith, man.
That
Former
kid's good.
Indy Warrior. He is killing it for Alabama, and I cannot wait to see what he has for us in the playoffs. And I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL. I know head coach Zephaniah Powell is very proud of him at they meet right now. So shout out to him. But
I love that he goes out and gets those 3-star guys too. He don't just get the 4-star. He fills that roster up. He finds guys, and he finds that Devontae Smith guy. And LSU didn't even. I don't think LSU even offered that guy. Man, that's
actually LSU
Saban's amazing.
Actually, LSU did offer him because I covered their meet a little bit, but he chose to go to Bama.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you know there's certain recruits that some of them LSU don't recruit, like Keaton Thompson. LSU didn't really look at him like Florida. Keaton at Mississippi State. LSU came
until the last minute, until the very last minute.
Right. And then came
in retrospect, I wish he would have taken it. Now I was mad at the time. In retrospect, I wish he would have taken it. Dan Mullen lit his career on fire when he left for Florida.
Well, actually, Dan Mullen, sources told me Dan Mullen was trying to get him in Florida. So he decided to stay in Mississippi State. And I was out there. I was not too far from – I was out there in Mississippi for a minute. And then all of a sudden, I knew some people close to the Mississippi State program. And when they told me what was going on with Keaton, and I was like, Joe Moorhead about to do this stupidness?
Yes, I was on it. I was talking to the fans every week.
This might be grounds of him getting fired. And guess what? I was dead
he got fired.
He got what he deserved.
I said, you stupid.
He got what
he deserved. And they should have never replaced their. I mean, look, they replaced him with a guy that didn't understand SEC, and then second off, you try to play offensive system that didn't go with what was stated as your best quarterback recruit in like almost the history of the entire program. That's how Keaton. That's what they said. I'm not saying this. This is how the program went ahead and he went out. He played the game versus Lamar Jackson, where he outplayed Lamar Jackson in a bowl game and won the bowl game. And he comes out the next season. He doesn't have the opportunity to play, and it's just, to me, it's a frustration for the kid. Now the kid is playing like Wildcat at Virginia. I mean, so that's why I will never, ever get mad at a kid for doing what they got to do in the college football system, whether it's sit out a game or leave like the Marshall kid did at LSU. Whatever they got to do it, because the coaches are going to do it. The coaches are going to kick rocks. They're going to come to your house. They're going to sit in your living room and say, I'm going to turn you to the Dak Prescott. Oh, wait, Florida just called me. Sorry, can't do that anymore. So that's just how I feel bad for my man Keaton, but that's how the game goes.
It is, and it's crazy in itself. Go ahead, Dashone.
So I have a question. So with I was actually waiting for us to talk about this for a long time, but you all pretty much touched on everything with Keaton Thompson. That pay, I'm not even gonna lie. I agree with Hank. I would never get mad at kids for making their own decision, but this has to be like literally the flagship for why you should always keep your best interest, first. Because I mean, I understand that coaches come and go, and I understand that systems get replaced, but you pretty much ruined this guy's transgression to what he was progressing to by shipping him around. So now he's at Virginia playing running back, Wildcat offense. There already was a mediocre offense, and it's not necessarily suited for him as far as talent wise, and it's not fair to him. I wish he had gone to Florida. I didn't necessarily agree with him signing with LSU. I didn't think that LSU's scheme at the time fit his skill set, so I was okay with him signing with Mississippi State. I figured they would build.
They recruited him since 10th grade.
Right.
They recruited him since 10th grade.
Right.
But I respect that. They wanted him. So I respect him wanting to go there. But the thing, man, Mullen, is that's just how it goes, man. These coaches, when you get a chance to dip, they're going to dip. So players, I mean,
but you replaced them with Joe Moore. Like, you replaced them with Joe Moorhead. It looks completely different from what they had the year before. But the players that were already there and like pretty much the nucleus of your team was fit for a certain type of system that you were not running. They
went out and got Devontae Jason for Keaton. They got him because they saw him like it was a touchdown every time they threw the ball one another. He went in a fade out. It was fade city. Every time that kid got the ball, he catch a touchdown. And it was the point, let's bring you in here so you could help Keaton. Like everything was in that motion, and then the coach decides to leash your ass. You're a victim to whatever happens. Joe Morgan, he had his own quarterback. He had his own guy.
That's right. Joe Moorhead was at Penn State as the offensive coordinator, and he wanted his boy Tommy Stevens, who was at Penn State, to be the quarterback. Keaton never had a chance under Joe Moorhead, and I'm glad Joe Moorhead got fired because what he did was wrong. Straight up.
And trust me, I talk to all the Hail State people every single week during this time, and they were telling me the same stuff. And they were telling me they were mad. They were telling me they were upset. They was telling me, why can't we give this kid a chance? Why all this kid has done is win games. We know he isn't perfect, but he has won games. And it just, to me, there has to be something else, or I don't know if there's something else, but it just
I went to a Mississippi State.
Never made it to be. They never got a real chance to get his quarterback position back.
Can he play again? Does he have? I know he's at Virginia, and his season discount. So what's the rules on that? Is he allowed to keep this year and come back and do it again?
Everybody can everybody got a free year this year. So yeah, he can come back. Everybody got a free year.
Well, wait, hold up. Everyone got a free year?
Everybody got a free year.
Every player has a free year this year? I slept on that.
Yeah, everybody got a free year.
This year doesn't count.
Right. Well, I was saying about the Eric
King. So Trevor Lawrence could play 2 more seasons if he wanted?
Yeah. Yes.
Holy shit.
He's not. We won't.
Yeah. That's how the Eric King got another year. Just because of this.
Here's my thing about Keaton. I went to a couple Mississippi State games. I went to a Mississippi State game, and it was Moorhead. I believe he going to. I think his first year. They played against Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin. So I went to the game, and Keaton, and I think quarterback who was there before, he was in the senior year, and the one
I
that
know
was
you're talking
starting.
about.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
yeah,
remember
yeah.
his
I
name.
forgot his
Yeah.
name. I don't remember his name, but he was straight. But he started for him that game because he was hurt. And Keaton went up in there, had over 500 yards of offense and 7 touchdowns. And when I say the Mississippi State folks was going crazy, and they was like, "Oh my God!" I'm like, "Oh, we ain't got nothing to worry about when he leave. We're good." They knew how good Keaton was. They knew. Them Mississippi State fans knew that we got a great future guy in Keaton Thompson when this guy leaves. And then all of a sudden, when Joe Moorhead pulled that, you talking about Mississippi State fans was just so PO'd. It was like, wow. Like we went from here to there, and I hope Keaton. Now I wouldn't be surprised to stay one more year because I know he pretty much probably gonna be a graduate student because knowing the thing about Keaton, he's very intelligent here. He's always
Yep.
average over the 4.0 average. So I wouldn't be surprised he's gonna graduate in the classroom,
He got
but
to
he'll
walk
probably be a
into a
graduate student.
championship game and won it. That's all you need to know.
That's
That's
it.
all you need to
Exactly.
know.
That's
And
it.
and as a 4.0 student, and that's what people. I'm like, what? I say yes. 4.0
He
Yep.
kept that
student.
team together. He was the
Andrew
ultimate
Walker.
leader for that team. No way in the world that team gets anywhere for a championship game without him.
Right. Let's go into NFL right quick before we get more into high school. The Saints today, they will take on the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be a 4:30 Eastern time start, 3:30 New Orleans time. Let's go to our guest Hank for your thoughts on this game. I think this is like a Super Bowl preview here, but does the Saints get it done today, especially with the return of Drew Brees?
Now, with this game here, I don't know if Drew Brees is going to be 100%. I know that's any 100%, 11 fractured ribs in the lung and all of that. I think there's a very good chance he's alternating quarterback possessions or something like that in this game. Some of that nation. I hear Jameis Winston is out because of COVID, so that's
Yeah.
probably limited Taysom Hill to not do anything but be the backup quarterback. So we'll see how that shakes up. But for me, honestly, him going 3-1, I think that was great, and for a lot of people who were his detractors, obviously he's still gonna have some detractors out there, but I think he showed a lot of them in his 4-game stint. My one problem with that 4-game stint was that Sean Payton, unbelievably, did not have a running component, a consistent running component with him at quarterback. And for me, I've been Team Taysom from day one, and I've been telling everybody. Sean Payton has seen this guy for 3-4 years in practice. He knows what he's going to do with this guy. And I honestly, I have been shocked that Sean Payton has not had any type of consistent run element, read option. I was watching that game last week thinking, why aren't we calling the plays that Jalen Hurts is getting? Shouldn't that be like some component of our offense right now? They just want to turn him to another Drew Brees. So we'll see if he gets in the game today, but I think that this game versus Kansas City right now, it's going to be about the Saints defense, and they'll play way better than they played last week.
Very much agreed. Dashone, your thoughts on today's game, and what does will Kansas City come in with more of a hot start? Because last week they had a good start, but they're type of team lately that has not been really playing 4 quarters.
Well, so to piggyback off of what Hank said, I'm not sure what we were thinking in terms of my only thoughts were maybe we were attempting to not get him hurt because we didn't have necessarily a confident backup plan. But I couldn't understand why we didn't run Taysom more, considering that was his strength. I think that if you listen to barbershop talk, people wanted Taysom to be the starting quarterback. I'm glad that experiment is over with, and that you realize that he's a great player. He's not your starting quarterback. He's great because he doesn't have to be the starting quarterback. He literally can be plug and play, and that's a strength of his. That's not necessarily a negative. He's like one of the few players that you can say that about. I don't know if Drew Brees is going to be 100%. He had like 21 ribs or something like that, or whatever they said on the. But speaking from experience, like I've had a collapsed lung, and I to this day it's still tender sometimes when he talks.
Jeez Louise.
And that was in 2013. So this guy had a collapsed lung and 2,000 broken ribs like 4 weeks ago. and yet you still attempting to put him out there. I couldn't imagine him being like Drew Brees from week 6. I think he's going to be more of Drew Brees in preseason and the ball off, short dink and dunk passes, something to not get him hit. A lot of screen press, a lot of Elvin Kamara. I think that's what it is. But as far as Kansas City is concerned, they're a dangerous team. They know they're a dangerous team. They have so much talent on the offensive side of the ball. They make up for it. But to add on to that, they have a really strong defense. And if you thought for 1 second that Taysom was going to be able to throw those passes, he's late. He's late a lot. The Honey Badger, those defensive backs, they wouldn't have that. So I think the pressure Breeze was for that showing overall to make sure that we put out a good showing. I don't know if we would necessarily win this game, but Taysom wasn't the answer at quarterback.
You're killing my man Taysom. Like he didn't have like 75% completion in these 4 games, man. He's completing passes. He didn't throw a crazy duck every now and again. He threw maybe 3 ducks out of his entire performance, man. But I'm looking more at Sean Payton with the plays that he's calling. Like when you put Taysom Hill in the game, were you expecting him to get to his 4th read? Were we expecting him to get to his 4th read?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm saying he's out here running plays where he's trying to get to his 3rd and 4th read because the first 2 got covered. I didn't expect that. I expected some quick stuff, some read option stuff, some following stuff, some deceptive stuff. He just got him out there playing like Drew Brees. So for me, I know barbershop talking all you had a little guy a casket and they doing the dancing and stuff like that. I'm not ready to put the sprinkle roses on his grave quite yet. I still think there's something there, but I hear what you're saying. After that loss and the way it went about, you had to be like, okay, if Drew Brees is going to retire this season, say hell with it. We got to go for broke and just throw him out there and see what's going to go on. So I'm cool with that, but I'm not ready to whistle past Taysom's graveyard just yet.
Well, no. So my question to you is not that I didn't think that he should play quarterback, but it was the play call in that match while he was on the field. So like to what you were saying, who is nobody, not even the other team, expecting him to get to his 3rd and 4th read.
That's what I'm saying. Why is Sean Payton doing that?
That was my point. So it's what that tells me is that either you have ability to make an adjustment in your play call and you're that arrogant, but whatever it was, you can't sit him out there. Like his best strengths are for 2 option reads, a lot of read option, something where it's like literally that's your first primary read. That's where we're going. Anything beyond that, it look bad. That's like the only reason you think it look bad because yeah.
And that's what I understand. And I've been defending Sean Payton. So for me, I'm gonna eat my crow. You can microwave, you can put it in the oven. I will eat it, but at least let me eat it with him doing the things that he have shown to be successful doing. So for me, from my perspective, I've just been kind of just annoyed with the play calling because I've been telling everybody, Sean Payton got this. Sean Payton's seen this kid in practice. Sean Payton about to come out with the run package and the deceptive run, just to see him basically call Breeze plays for Taysom Hill. That's been a disappointment to me. And then Taysom Hill not running the ball when he's had the opportunity. You see when he's being about to get sacked, just run up in the pocket. Obviously, guys, I'm seeing a similar situation to what happened with Aaron Brooks. When Aaron Brooks first came on the scene for the Saints, those first 2 or 3 games, he looked amazing. He was running around, scrambling. I think everybody remembers the play versus San Francisco where he ran around, did the spin move, and hit stalwart or somebody. Yeah. He was like, oh, man, we got a quarterback now. What did Hazlitt do? Hazlitt season went got Joe Montana to try to teach him to be a pocket passer, and the next season he looked like crap. For me, Taysom Hill has an intangible ability. I just don't want you to coach that out of him. Please, Coach Payton. Please don't coach tangible ability. He don't have to get to that 3rd, 4th read. That's not what Lamar Jackson and those type of quarterbacks do. They don't get 3rd, 4th read. They get to that 1, 2, and they dip. And that's what Taysom needs to be doing to be successful right now.
Jared JB, I know you've been waiting in the wings. Go ahead.
Well, they both make great points. I really can't dispute what each guy says, from Dashone to Hank. They make great points. In regards to the game today, it's funny, within a week's time, Drew Brees was still in pain trying to throw a football to being healthy just like that. I'm sitting here thinking because of this number one seed? Are they rushing him back in to try to get the number one seed? Is that the main reason?
Yes.
They're desperate.
I'm literally sitting here like I understand we want the number one seed, we want the bye, but we need Drew Brees for the playoffs, healthy. And if he gets hit hard today and he's not healthy, he could be done for the rest of the season and the postseason. So
How was the offensive line played the last few weeks?
that too, they gotta really protect their asses off like never before. They really have to. And if he gets hurt, it's over. It's over. Don't even look forward to a Super Bowl. You need Drew Brees healthy. I'd rather him healthy for the playoffs instead of trying to get this number one seed if he's not fully healthy. I guess we could sit here and take the trainer's word for what they say that he's 100% healthy because we have no choice. But if he gets hit, we're going to know today if he's healthy or not. As far as winning the game, we don't have Mike Thomas. We don't have Michael Thomas. So expect the Chiefs DBs to play off, allow the underneath short passes. But other than that, as far as our defense and our DBs, they got to play their best game ever. Marshawn Lattimore shows up and plays hard against big receivers, but speedy receivers gives Marshawn Lattimore trouble. And this is
they can't put one on him. Cannot go one on him today. No way. They gotta have they gotta bracket him. They got to bracket that coverage.
They can't put him on Hill. They can't put him on Hardman. Maybe Sammy Watkins at best, but Hardman and Hill, no, they're too fast for him. So
the toughest assignment of the year.
He get the hell up out of here. If he can't go Hardman, he got to get the hell up out of here.
That is speed, man. The speed receivers gives him trouble.
He gonna have to. I understand Hill, but look, you making too much. I mean, you're gonna go.
Well, Wes looking at the Saints is going to be tough sledding. Breeze is there for a reason, you know. But I'll keep going with this line. I'm gonna stick to this. I'm gonna go with this line, and I'm gonna stick with this line until the Saints is out the playoffs. By hook, by crook, the Saints gonna win the Super Bowl. By hook, by crook, the Saints gonna win the Super Bowl. They've been robbed. They've been everything else. Mark my words, Saints gonna win today. That's all I say. Saints gonna win today. I don't care what it takes.
Kansas City plays down to the competition. They do it every week. They'll give you an opportunity to win this game. So I'm not scared that the Saints are going to get blown out or anything like that. I'm scared about Drew Brees dying.
I agree. I don't want him to go either. And Sean Payton being ignorant, being stubborn. The same Sean Payton that lost the freaking NFC Championship years ago. And I still say it was his fault. I don't care what anybody say. Plain and simple. You run the football. You force timeouts of the Rams. You don't give them the ball with a minute to go. If you do what you're supposed to do, that call would have not been never made.
Yeah, he should have ran the ball. But, you know, if that pass interference happened in the first, second, third quarter, okay, whatever. But that was a game-defining moment. And
that's true.
That's the issue. That was a game-deciding moment.
That's true, but
I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. Because he should have never passed that ball on first down. I'm totally agreeing with you. But I'm also just saying also.
Right, I get it. But my thing is, and I've seen it too many times, coaches' decisions like that leads to stuff like that. Don't be ignorant. Use your head. It's a chess, not checkers.
Versus Philly. 4th and 2. Run it last week versus Philly. We're not having this conversation. 4th and 2.
Yep.
Run a damn read option with your quarterback that trucks people. Jesus.
That's what we're working with. But I'm like this: by hook, by crook, Saints gonna win the Super Bowl some way, somehow. I think they'll win the day some way, somehow. Because plain and simple, the Saints, it don't matter. The Saints need to be number one seed because no matter that they don't have fans, the Saints do not want to go to Lambeau.
No one wants to play in Lambeau. I will go further than that, Dashone. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to play in Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers don't want to play in Lambeau. I'll go further. So no one wants to play in Lambeau. So if we have to play in Lambeau, we already know what's going to happen in that situation. So I mean, I
Doom.
think we're like 0-45 in weather under 40 degrees or something like that. I know we have an all-time horrific record in that type of stuff. So we'll see.
We're 2-45. Remember, we did
2-45.
beat
All right,
Philly.
2-45. You got me.
2-45. So, well, that was lately we wanted to. Why not? But I don't think so. That they go to the frozen tundra. That's going to be too big of a freaking task. You know what I'm saying? That out of all the places, yeah, we can win at Philly. Yeah, we can win this place. We even won in Chicago in the cold. Thank God.
Yeah,
we lost to Chicago in the Super Bowl though.
I know. This is more tough. This is tougher than Chicago.
We didn't beat Chicago in the actual game, though.
We lost. You know, we didn't look good at all.
Right. Now the NFC Championship, we did put up a fight against them in that cold. I tell you that. We put up a freaking fight. There's just some luck on the
boy, we thought
side.
Reggie Bush would be a 10-year star in that game, boy. Who knew that would be like almost his peak? But man, that was a hell of a run at the time. That touchdown he scored in that game right there. I remember we was like, oh my God, it's here. And like I guess 15 years later or 12 years later or whatever, Alvin Kamara is actually the back we all thought that he would be. It's just actually amazing to see how things turned out with that.
Right.
I believe in Reggie. I believe Reggie was immensely talented, man. I think that I don't know what a disconnect came because he had a really that Super Bowl. He had a really good run, but I'm not sure why his skill set didn't necessarily translate to like big dividends for the Saints as the other smaller backs that did over the years, from Darren Sproles down to Alvin Kamara. Now that always
I think too much. He was too good coming from college. And he thought too much. He was too much in his head.
I think plain and simple, I learned over the years by Reggie Bush. He was that speedy guy, that he was more the outside guy, not the inside guy, and that's all it was. And we seen plenty of times there were holes, like I don't know what, and refused to go to the hole. He want to go to the outside. That's all it is. And Kamara is an all-around back. Thank God for him. That he can hit the hole when it's there, or he'll go outside either way.
And can do it in limited carries. Can do it in limited carries and limited touches. Yeah. That's the thing that's great about him. He might not ever get more than 20 touches in a game.
But I tell you this, though, had Reggie Bush come along, 8 years later, like he be playing, like had he come out of college like right now, and it's all he been drafted to the Saints right now, he'd be an unstoppable player. Like the way that the game has changed so much. I mean, they throw. Look at every team that you have now. Like the Saints were doing something that's unprecedented. They had 3 backs in the backfield pretty much every year when they started their run, and so now. It's every team's copying it. Every team has multiple backs. You have third down back. That's people getting drafted literally to be third down backs, and that was unheard of. Going back 15 years. So had he come out right now, he would have been. Look at he basically Christian McCaffrey now. Look how important he is to that team, and that's what Reggie Bush would have been to the Saints had that.
Was better than Bush though. Sproles was better in this offense than Reggie Bush.
Yeah, well, he was doing what he had always done. I mean, the player that Darren Sproles was for the Saints, that's who he was at Kansas State.
Sproles was perfect. Perfect. He might have been the most perfect back that, like, not, every downside back. He was a perfect satellite back for this offense that probably ever seen, even more so than Alvin Kamara. But Kamara can do it all. Like, Sproles couldn't do it all. But as far as just being that third down back, Sproles is up there as like almost like best all time, almost top 10, definitely all time.
And fellas, I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna give you this tidbit. We're gonna go into high school. Do me a favor, if y'all want to talk about going back to the nostalgia of the Saints, listen to Bomani Jones's podcast from last week. He did an interview with Michael Smith. Now, he was originally from New Orleans, went to McDonald 35. When I say it's an interesting interview, please listen to it. He talks about the Saints back then when the Saints had the Dome Patrol and all that stuff. It'll make you go back a little bit and make you think about what happened then to now, especially with the Saints.
Bomani be hating on the Saints every episode, though. Bomani hate on the Saints almost everyone in his podcast.
But he loves New Orleans. He does. I'm
just messing with him.
He loves New Orleans.
Love his podcast.
I know, but he does say he hates the Saints because he has a little hate because he's an Atlanta fan, but he's not a Falcons fan anymore. He knocked that off.
He hates the Falcons now. He's off that narcotic, as he says.
Yeah, he still sticks with the Braves. I give him that. He still sticks to the Braves, Everybody else like hell with him. But listen to that one. Trust me, they kind of went back to their time. I
Yep,
mean, some
they went
fun
back.
time.
Yep, Dome Patrol, all of that
Oh
stuff, man.
my
And I love that stuff.
God, man. Offense.
Bobby Abear,
My
they had a whole
goodness.
segment talking about Bobby Abear and John Ford and how Saints put them on the team just because they were Cajuns. I mean, that's where we come from. Like we used to put Cajuns on a team to sell tickets. I mean, that's why we got Tim Floyd
Yes,
for the
indeed.
for at the time. We got Tim Floyd. This is the only fan base where someone thinks that we go find a coach that's like, oh, no people will go to see a game, man. That's like how crazy this place is, man.
Dude, and Hank, I don't know if you knew, John Forkins is a Shaw graduate.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for
John Fork,
I don't
yeah.
4K. I had the unfortunate experience of watching 4K play like past when he was 40. He was playing like indoor football league, and I remember 4K walks in. I may have been 12 or 13. He walks into this office and he's like, "Yeah, I'm John. I have no idea who this guy is." He was like fat at this time, and he was the coach for the team, but he was also the quarterback. And so it was like, "Yeah, that's John." I said, "Who the hell is John Forkett?" He literally was out. He never wanted to let go of his playing days. For he was playing for Alexandria,
I think I remember that.
Alexandria. No, I'm sorry, Rapids Lightning. I think that's what it was. The name of that team, but it was in Alexandria. That's what he
Pete
was playing for.
had a team.
Yes, yes, yeah. Indoor football team. Indoor football. They was pretty good. They was pretty good. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. They were playing against Rapids, and 4K was playing for the team in Biloxi. He was the coach of the team in Biloxi. And that's what it was.
And,
But he picked them apart. He picked them apart. He
and
thought he was
4K,
playing Madden out there.
His nephew played at Nicholls State. Man, that kid was good. He went to Rummel, the 4K kid who played
Rumble,
for
right?
Rummel,
yeah,
and he
yeah.
went on to play at Nicholls State. Undersized kid, but I tell you what, he got the most out of his ability as a lot of kids in high school that I've seen. He was definitely a gamer. Can't his first name is escaping me right now. But the
I think it's
4K
Chase,
kid who
Chase,
played for
Chase
Chase,
4K, Chase 4K.
yeah, Chase
Yeah.
4K.
Chase
Yeah,
4K.
so his lineage was pretty good. He was actually pretty really good high school player, and he actually overcame and played better than I think a lot of people thought he would at the college level.
Chase was
I agree.
really good. It was very tripped out when
He's a
he
gamer.
had. I mean, and John a great guy. I met him, talk with him a bunch. Every time he see me, speak to me and stuff. Great guy, man. I mean, and it's amazing when I find out his nephew. I thought it was his son at first, but he said no, it's my nephew. And I was like, how in the world? Like and actually his brother, both him and his brother went to Shaw, and all of a sudden they go to the rival. And that is just funny to me, man. All the time, it's just funny to me. I'm like, wow, they go to the rival. Like that's crazy. But still, regardless of the fact, let's move on to the LHSAA playoffs. We're gonna get with you, Hank, a little more with Carb in a little bit because this is what we're gonna do. And Jared, let me see if you're okay with this. We're gonna go a little bit out of order a bit. We're gonna go one, two, three. We'll go with five, and then we'll go with four at the last one.
That's
We're
great.
gonna talk about calling algaes. Okay.
That's great. That's
Let's
great.
okay, cool. Let's go start with 1A, and basically it's the championship. I don't think nobody wants to watch, and it's probably gonna be maybe one of the most one-sided championship you'll see. Oak Grove and Grand Lake. Oak Grove put up 59 against Homer, 59-12, and Grand Lake gets by East Iberville, Baton Rouge team, 13-8 in a defensive struggle. But I think we all know that Oak Grove is going to get back-to-back state championships. Oak Grove is back with a vengeance after being down for a while. Dashone, what you think?
Well, I think me and JB talked about this a few weeks back. I think that we all expected Oak Grove to kind of like steamroll through it, so I'm not coming off of that. I don't have too many thoughts about the championship game, but like I said, no, that's going to be a 20-person attendance, just parents. It's going to be freezing. Uh, there's nothing more you're going to expect from that. Just a route, a boat race, like they like to say. I'm not even sure why boat race became the thing the verb that describes getting your ass kicked. But I mean, I like it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Oak Grove in a landslide easily.
Let's go with you, Jared, your thoughts. I know you probably got not too many words on this matchup.
I don't, except 2 words: Oak Grove. That's it.
Now, Hank, do you know a little bit about? I know you might know a little bit about Oak Grove, knowing your past a little bit, covering prep a little bit. I know you know a little bit about that program, how awesome that is, how awesome that program is.
I've heard of Oak Grove, and I've heard that they're good, and I have no other information beyond that. And I'm just gonna keep.
well,
I'm just gonna keep
well,
100. I don't care what the 1A championships. I'm a five guy. I can go deep on you on that, but when it comes to 1A, I think Sturgeon is like one team in my brain from a few years ago that won it. Uh, but yeah, 1A is definitely not my stopping ground.
I got you. I got you. I'm gonna tell you what, Hank. Sit back, relax. We'll get through these 2 classes right quick. When we get to 5 and 4, we definitely get you going, brother. So just
Hey,
hold on
John,
1 second.
something for you. I broke out
But,
some notes that I was holding on to.
that's okay, but we got you. We got you, brother. We got you. But all I
All
know,
right.
2 words on this matchup: Slaughterhouse. Congratulations to Grand Lake, great season, but the Tigers go back to back. So
Facts.
overall, just a monster program. Class 2A. The finals are set there. The 1 versus 6 seed will battle a rematch of state championship 2 years ago. Manny Kinder. Manny put up an 80 spot. 83-36 on General Trash, a team that's been surprising all year long, but their great season came to a close right quick.
Just they were surprised when
80?
they got 81 points on
80,
them. Like that.
83.
80,
Actually, that
80,
was Karen Crow. That was a week ago. Karen Crow put 81
Sound like
on
a Ben
Plaquemine.
Franklin game.
yes, yes, yes.
Manny would take on Kinder. Kinder had a 19-13 victory. Magnum couldn't get over the hump as Kinder gets to the championship, a rematch of 2 years ago. Manny playing basically a home game. They're actually 25 minutes away from Manny to Natchitoches, and that is going to be big. Let's start with you, Jared. Your thoughts on this one? Will this game be as the one a couple years ago? Because those two have been in some battles.
Well, they know each other pretty well. Once you played each other a couple times, you know each other. You know what you're gonna run. You know the assignments on defense. So I think it'll be a good game, but I think Manny gets the job done probably by 14 points.
Dashone?
So I'm gonna go with Manny. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with Kinder. I didn't follow them as much. I didn't expect them to make it though, at all. But Manny's been rolling all year. Shouts out to one of my good college friends. He's from Manny. He probably the only fan I know that's from Manny. But I'm gonna go with Manny in a landslide, just based off of trend.
Well, Kinder, really good program indeed. We knew one of our alumnus, Wayne Cordova, his oldest son used to play for Kinder. Very good athlete who is at I think it's Jordan Cordova who is at I think ULL. So he done some good things at Kinder. And Kinder's a real decent program, but Manny, knowing the road they have been on, and they had the toughest side of the bracket, in my opinion, especially huge wins and the biggest win of the season against A-Meat, the way they came back and won that game. I said it a couple weeks ago. They win at A-Meat and the way they came back and won it, they're going to win the state championship, especially with them basically having a home game. So it'll be close early, but I think Manny settles down and they'll win and have a big second half, and it'll be Manny winning Class 3A. Let's go. I'm sorry, Class 2A. Manny will win Class 2A. Class 3A is up next. Finals are set on that one. Union Parish gets by Lake Charles College Prep on a 2-point conversion. Great ball game, 43-42. I know that's near and dear to your heart, Jared. I mean, man, what a game it was. And Lake Charles came so close to getting the job done. They still return a lot of players next season. Next year could be their year, but this year could have been.
Man, this
But
year was supposed to
ready
be
Union Parish.
the year. Listen, man. I know you probably getting rid of PJB, but I fully expected Lake Charles College Prep to go all the way. I think that their coach Eric Franklin is doing an amazing job of developing talent, but especially those wide receivers. I mean, that's what he played. That's his forte. But I mean, they played a good game, man. It's one of those games. I mean, you can't. A loss is a loss, but you can take a lot of pride coming from a loss of that. But this year was definitely their year. Lake Charles has been down overall. Like you haven't heard much from Barb or Washington Marion or whoever else is out in the area.
Stall for St. Louis,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lagrange, all of them. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's literally been down. So it now is the opportunity for LCCP to go ahead on and take the torch, and because they're keeping talent, and it's a public school, so they're able they're pretty much doing what Carr and what most of the West Bank team is keeping their talent on base. They're literally keeping their talent in Lake Charles and not allowing them to go to these private schools, and it's showing big dividends. They have some dogs over at LCCP, including your cousin. So.
Yeah. I mean, they went up to Union Parish, the old Formerville, and I talked to George Peppers, and George Peppers said that Lake Charles College Prep has no shot. He said they had no shot against Union Parish, and they almost got the job done. They almost got the job done. They hung in tough with them the whole game, a back and forth game, and they took the lead with less than 3 minutes off of a fumble, 42-35, and they just couldn't hold them. And Union Parish went for two and got the win with less than 20 seconds left. So look, Coach Franklin has done a great job. I saw it last year in the second round against 35, and I said, man, LCCP is going to be for real. And now they got to the semis a year later and lost by 1 point. 1 point. So, I mean, I think big things are coming for Lake Charles College Prep with Coach Franklin.
Very much agree. Very much agreed. So Union Parish will take on Madison Prep. They get by Church Point 22-16. They had a controversial call looking at the highlights of the ball game. Church Point made a catch and it went out of bounds, but I think Church Point was short, but Madison Prep's player kind of not just hit the player, but the player wound up getting tackled a little bit out of bounds and everything. Kind of a controversy, and I tell you, Madison Prep was very fortunate a flag was not called, and it could have been called right there, and it could have gave a big first down to Church Point, and it was a 4th down play, which Church Point was short, and Madison Prep took the ball and won the ball game. So Madison Prep gets by with the win. Controversial a little bit, but amazing. But now it presents a bigger matchup. Jared, your thoughts? Who wins this state championship? And I think this might be the best championship out of all of them on the whole weekend.
It could be. It could be. I think we have a good matchup. Madison Prep has a great defense. And Union Parish can score with the best of them. We saw that, throughout the whole playoffs, even with Lake Charles College Prep. But I'm going to go with Union Parish. I think Union Parish gets the job done.
All right, Dashone, your thoughts?
I'm gonna pick it back over JB and go down and take Union Parish. Pulled off such an amazing game. It wouldn't surprise me if either team won, but I'm gonna go down and support Union Parish and their quest for their title this year.
I think this is a close game. Both teams very, very good. But I think redemption is on the mind of Madison Prep. They got to the Dome a couple of years ago, and they got had against Sterlington. And I was shocked of the game myself because I thought it'd be close, but they would pull it out against Sterlington. But hearing the name Bobby Breen, who's the head coach of Sterlington, stunned the hell out of me and had a great game plan for Madison Prep and took them out in winning the state championship. And if anybody knows who Bobby Breen is, I'm going to give you a little history, Dashone. Basically, the quarterback that started the West Monroe dynasty. He was the one that beat St. Aug in '93. So that's why the familiarity of it. And when Sterlington ran the offense, it looked like the original West Monroe option, and it killed Madison Prep in a close one. But I think Madison Prep looks for redemption. This should be a great game. I wouldn't be surprised be a shootout. I got Madison Prep in a close one against Union Parish. I hate to go against Union Parish. Great program, but I think Madison Prep is looking to redeem themselves after a couple years ago. Now let's go to Class 5A. Hank, get ready for this one. This should be interesting down the line here for Class 5A. You
We talking
got the
4A,
one
right?
seed, the Katie.
No, he's on the 5A.
Oh,
Oh, we got to get
5A?
a
Oh,
4A in a
5A. Okay,
second.
all right, all
We're
right.
going to 5 in
Sure
a
it
five.
is.
We're going to 5 a little bit. You ought to be
All right.
familiar with the Acadiana Wrecking Rams a little bit.
Yeah, Acadiana,
Acadiana.
definitely every year.
Yep. They're going against Alexandria, the 6th seed this year in Turpin Stadium. Should be an interesting ball game. Let me get your thoughts right quick, Hank, on this matchup. You probably know more about Acadiana more than anything else. I don't know if you know too much about Alexandria, but give us your thoughts a little bit.
Acadiana, they usually trucking folks, so I'm looking forward to seeing them probably truck folk when they get over there to Northwestern. How close is that to Western? Is that pretty much close or
It
to
should
where
be
they are?
maybe about an hour and a half or
About,
hour 10 minutes from
Okay,
Lafayette.
all right, all
I
right.
think
In
about
situations like this, with the championship game being in such a different place, I'm gonna give some advantages to guys that don't have to travel as far. I mean, a lot of these teams that travel 4 and 5 hours to get there. I'm thinking teams that are closer, that don't have to deal with a mess up their routine. You know, maybe they'll have a better opportunity Christmas time. You got to break it up. I think in the 5A category though. I look at Acadiana and what they've done in the past, and I'm not really familiar with the other teams, so I can definitely see them going and get another championship.
Well, looking at the distance, Alexandria
Alexandria is
actually has
closer.
the closer. Alexandria
Okay, all
probably
right.
have maybe a 30 to 35 minute drive from
Okay.
Alexandria to Natchitoches. I think
And
35 to
are the
45
teams
minutes for them.
are they of a similar caliber this season, or one just much better than the
Well,
other?
Acadiana is really, really good. They're probably one of the best teams overall in the state. Really good. They have beaten some really good teams, including John Curtis. They beat some. I think they took on STM and beat them too. So they're really, really good. And Alexandria, they've been coming up, but now they have gotten over the hump, and they're in the title game now.
Well,
So
definitely. Whenever you get to a tight game situation and a team that's been there before, that has played in big games against big competition, I'm going to always give them the edge. This isn't like the pros where, oh, everybody pro. One day another team could just win. Usually, the teams in high school that are good, that have done it over and over again, they're good for a reason. So any unforeseen thing that happened, I'm going ahead and go with Acadiana.
Dashone, I don't know if you're back with us, Dashone, but okay, yeah. Let me get your thoughts on this 5A matchup and who takes this one.
Well, so I haven't seen Alex as much this year. So but they surprised me making it to the dome. However, I just think Acadiana is a bit too much. As everyone else said, they're usually a powerhouse offense. They're usually running the ball. You know, it's pretty much we know who they are already. You know, we won't get any surprises in that. And so unless Alexander's going to come up with a better game plan to kind of contain that rushing attack or try to limit that offensive production, which it seems nobody's been able to do, I can see Acadiana taking this one. If I was a betting man, I'm going to go with Acadiana taking this one. But I don't think Alexandra has a shot to
Didn't they win it last year? Didn't they win it last year?
Acadiana won it last year.
Acadiana,
Didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was still there after the game, and I watched some of that game. Then they put like 50 burger on whoever they played.
No, 8-3. It was a defensive matchup.
8-3.
Them,
Oh, it was
them
a
and
defensive showdown. Okay, all
yeah,
right. I'm thinking of
yeah.
another game
Them,
then.
them and
Okay,
them and Destrehan. Yeah, 8-3.
okay, all right.
see, Dexter had matched up a little better with Acadiana than I think that Alexandria will.
Yeah. Jared, your thoughts?
All right. So I talked to Coach Malter Scoble. He was a defensive coordinator at Shaw when I was there. He
Mm.
followed Hank to West Jeff. He was the former head coach at Covington. I don't know where
Oh.
he's at now. I don't know where he's at now, but I talked to him, and he said, JB, they are sleeping on Alexandria's defense. He said their defense can match up with Acadiana better than any other team in the state. I said, really, coach? He said, yes. I said, okay. I said, I'll take your word on it, coach. Also, I, I've said this before. In 5A, there's a top tier. There's 4 teams in that top tier. Acadiana, West Monroe, Destrehan, Zachary. 2 of those teams already. Alexandria has knocked off. They knocked off Zachary. They knocked off West Monroe. And then their offense is very, very good. But it ain't the year for Alexandria. This Acadiana team is too much. I think eventually
Yeah.
in the second half, I think Acadiana wears them out like they wore out Destrehan. The exact same way. Their offense and O-line wears out their defense, and Acadiana will be back-to-back 5A champs.
Well, and you say that about the 4 teams, but see, I give it for picking Alexandria last week, and I was happy that I was wrong because I did pick West Monroe in that game. But like I said before, and I say it again, yeah, West Monroe is still one of those teams, but they're not the same West Monroe. Like I said
They still
before, they're not
perennial,
the
still
same.
perennial. They ain't the same, but they still
They're not
perennial
as
power
perennial.
every year.
They're consistent, but they're not the 90s. Like I said,
No, they're not the 90s where they winning every year. No,
they're not.
But they still get to the semis and the championships.
But the only thing I can say about West Monroe, they'd be fortunate with the matchup sometimes. Just saying. Not knocking it. Just saying. Because like I said before, like you said about John Eric, all I can say about West Monroe, their district was weak as hell. And Alexandria's in that district, and they own Alexandria for the longest. And Alexandria finally credit to them. Because I really thought I thought it was gonna be close, and I didn't know if Alexandria was gonna pull it off. They did, and I'm glad. Because the fact of the matter is, that's a hard team to get over, and they did it.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think this game is going to be close to Acadiana, and it's going to be real close because Alexandria did not come here for nothing. Alexandria's taking a 45 minute ride. This is the biggest game in the history of this school. They're looking for their first ever state championship. Will this be one-sided? I don't think it's going to be one-sided. I think this game goes down to the fourth quarter. And I think Acadiana will pull it out by a field goal. I give Acadiana, they're going to go back-to-back, but they'll win it by a field goal. Closer than the experts think because give Alexandria that respect, that credit, and then also knowing that, like I said, when they changed that venue going to Natchitoches, I'm like, it's going to give some teams not too far some extra ammunition because now they ain't got to go way down to the dome, and a lot of their fans can come closer. So a lot more fans might be coming out there. So like I said, out there in Natchitoches, they better get extra security ready because you're gonna have a lot more fans coming to that place. So be ready for it. But I like.
Yeah, that's probably true country. So I'm guessing that full stadium.
Oh
maybe
yeah,
be matchless full stadium.
Yeah, they're not they're gonna fill it as much as they can. They're still gonna have the social distance stuff, but they're gonna have people tailgating. They got people spread out everywhere from these certain schools. So that's why I say extra security and out to get ready because people from Manny, people from Alexandria, they coming out the loads for this one.
So hello, my car people, to mask up. Mask up, y'all.
Oh, they mask up well. I was in the stands. They mask up well.
And my only thing about
because
the next,
you're going into an environment where let's go.
Yeah, let's go to class 4, and you're right about that. My thing about the Natchitoches thing, and I really thought about with Carl folks and all, how many folks, and Carl always travel well, how many folks is really gonna make this long drive?
I heard people say in the stands that drive too long for me. I'm like,
it's not too long. It's gonna be cold.
Not at all. Yeah, not at all. That's not a long.
It's not a long drive. It's just gonna be really cold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be
really cold. And sometimes it's about what is like 4.5 to 4.5 hour drive to Natchitoches, if I'm right.
It's about 4. About 4 and 10.
Yeah, it's about 4.
Right.
About 3.5, 4.
Yeah,
on a bus is gonna be 4 or 5.
Right.
Exactly. And let's be real. Knowing certain black folks in New Orleans, they ain't about to travel. That's why I was like, I don't know. I understand the changing of the venue because of safety. I love my black people, but certain black people in New Orleans don't like to leave and travel.
I mean, why couldn't this thing be a human?
Like to leave out the house.
Why couldn't it be a human? Yeah. Honestly, why couldn't this be a human?
Why?
Oh, capacity.
Exactly.
No,
So
no,
it's
no.
always something, man.
It's New Orleans and them dropping down to phase 2 and dropping down the capacity numbers also. That's why it was moved. It's
Ah,
all New
yeah, okay, all
Orleans.
right.
Yeah.
And that's
That's
why we
why.
played at High Memphis all season long because it was in Jefferson Parish and they had to actually have more people over to the game. So okay,
Yeah.
And more
understandable.
money
I
too,
just
because it was a money thing too.
yeah,
Because
more money
I
as
was
well. Obviously, more money. Yeah,
because
well,
I was
listen.
talking to
a
somebody from
pandemic,
Landry. Yeah.
capitalistic society. I get it.
Right.
You asked about why people didn't want to travel. Not like a few weeks ago, me and Hank did a game together. It was Carr versus I forgot who Carr was playing. And it was cold. It might have been like 50 degrees. Through the numbers, the press box on never. So I ended up having to cover this game in the stands. I almost died. My hands was blue, and
I
it was
remember
horrible.
that.
It had to be it had to be the worst game that I had to cover. Every time I would come up, I was looking. So going to Natchitoches in the middle of December is worse than that. I can only if no
I
one's
agree.
going to travel, that has to be the reason not to travel. Not because it's too warm. That's because it's gonna be like it's like Arctic cold up there.
They go get
Now,
somebody
do
out.
you think?
Hopefully they do hopefully they send buses and help with the parents in a situation like that. I see the Carr family getting together and coming up with some type of game plan to make sure that they have some people out there for this.
And do you
Yeah.
think this is strange that the fact that they're doing the championships days after Christmas? The state championship starts on a Sunday. It ends on Wednesday.
It is
Now
what it
that's
is because
gonna
of
be
COVID.
kind of weird, but I know
Yeah,
all the schools
yeah.
gonna be out, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna say to that too. It's COVID. So
that's it.
these
COVID.
kids have done with these kids have dealt with so much this season. No, no practices, games being canceled every week. I mean, there was 1 week during the season where Carr and St. Augustine both had to cancel games because both of them teams they were facing had COVID. So they went ahead and just played each other on a Sunday afternoon, just because hey, we didn't have a game, y'all don't have a game, so let's play. Just a lot of crazy stuff this year. So for if they deal with a playing on a Tuesday, it's weird. It doesn't, but it's COVID.
Yeah.
Now, Hank. Talking about Ed and Nicole, we talked about a lot of things. They're back in the state championship game for going for their fifth straight state championship, six overall for your school, and also what they have done over the years as a school. And now y'all getting the fruits of your labor now because now you have a new school, brand new campus just
Yes.
opened on Joe. Like they used to be the old Joe Ellis Smith Hospital. Finally got it done. The campus looks beautiful.
Man,
The gym
can
looks
y'all get Hank to take
unbelievable.
the ring off of the screen, please?
Yeah, Hank, I
like,
understand, bro.
like
I know
I
you.
wasn't
I
in
know
the
you.
screen like this. I wasn't in the screen like this. I feel don't get an opportunity
I,
to put no rings up. That's all I'm saying.
now, Hank Brady was a member of the Wars basketball teams at one state under the
Yep.
late great Bill Robinson. He's still living, right?
And let me tell you a quick funny story is that I lost this ring for like 15 years and someone in a car pulled apart and sent me a Facebook on it and sent it to me. So I'm very thankful for that. I lost this ring in like
Wow.
1999 and they found it at pull apart. So I don't know who did it. I maybe dated some girl or something. I took the ring for her. She sold Corolla, and it was just sitting inside of my life for like a decade. So I'm very happy that somebody found that and got that back to me.
That's
Cool.
awesome.
Cool.
That's awesome. Now,
Wow.
now, now, now I'm gonna ask you this about Carl Hank, and you can talk about it a bit. You're getting
Yeah.
the fruits of your labor now with the new school. What are your thoughts right now on y'all getting the fruits of your labor with the new school, practice field, and all that stuff? Do you think this is long overdue, and you getting what you deserve because the old campus has been there for a long time since it was a junior high,
Yep.
and now y'all getting the fruits of your labor. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I remember at the old campus where they couldn't even fit 12th graders. We had to create a whole other annex section to do all of that. I mean, when I went to Carr, when I started Carr, it only went to 10th grade. So as I to 10th grade, when I got to 8th grade, I got to 9th, 11th, turned 12. So teams that had Dale Friendly and Patrick Surtain and stuff. I mean, they didn't have a 12th grade. They didn't have a 12th grade. And they were out there going against West Monroe, like beating West Monroe, doing stuff like that. I think a lot of people don't understand. I said it earlier in the show about Carr. Carr has not didn't just come around in the early 2000s. They didn't just come around in the late 90s. Carr been around since the 60s, man, since the 70s. It was a junior high program, and it kept all the players until through junior high. And when those players went to ninth grade, they just dispersed all around the city, and they got the fruits of those labors. So to see Carr come from this state to where we got a 12th grade, we started keeping our talent, and to see it progress in this manner, I'm actually shocked because look, I knew we were good. We're good at recruiting. We actually have a really good, basis of coach. Coach Ott, one of the greatest junior high coaches of all time, was our junior coach, and that kind of led us into the senior high. Coach, God rest his soul, passed away recently. So the Carr program been around. I have to talk to people every few weeks when we talk about the school and where y'all came from like this, and how y'all got good, and I had to school them and let them know Carr been good for a while. So see the football program get this good to the point that where it can open up avenues so you can do stuff like rebuild your school, add parts to your school, have another nicer school, get your profile up. Man, that's all great. That's all the grace of God, and it's awesome to see.
Very much awesome to see. And over the years, y'all been really coming up. And you have former Carr players that coached at Warren Easton, and Carr getting the win. And you was there on Friday night. 35-13 was the score. We was talking on Twitter. You were saying, man, like, when is Easton gonna try and get a win? And the thing is, Jerry Phillips and his staff, Noel, you have Noel Ellis that you graduated with. You have Munchie Legault, a bunch of Carr people on the staff, and Bryce Brown is undefeated against Easton. Easton is not won since I believe 2015.
That won the game against Hull. The game against Hull. Hull was able to beat him in his final year. That was the last time that they
exactly.
won a significant game.
Dashone Smith was the quarterback, and he had an unbelievable.
In '83, and then you got a guy playing for the Chargers right now who was also on that team. And
Tyron Johnson. Oh God.
So that was a hell of a Warren Easton team right there. I think what I was saying on Twitter is that, and man, I respect the hell out of those guys. I played with Jerry, played with Noel. I know that it hurts. I know that they pour everything in and winning these games. But I guess maybe my thought process on it is that maybe the emotion for the game is a bit too much now, because maybe they need to play this game when they face Carr. They need to maybe just play it like a regular game. It just seems like the emotion is at such a high level that anything that goes wrong against them in those type of games, it just builds and it builds and it builds. Maybe they need to take a step back and stop looking at Carr as if they lose the game, like the program is in peril or whatever, and maybe they should just look at it more as just take it as a win. Like try to win the game without a faceless opponent at this point. Because honestly, I'm actually kind of shocked how Carr is able to come up with all these victories. I know we have the talent to do it, but when you face a team that has similar level of talent, and Warren Easton has had similar level of talent over these past 5-6 years in some of those teams, when you have a similar level of talent, they have the emotional edge. Every game they have the emotional edge. They have to beat our big brother. We got to go against the team. We almost beat them. We lost the championship 35-34. We got the edge. We got all the emotion pouring into this game, and yet Carr is able to stop that, is able to stall that each and every time and come out on top. And for Carr to keep doing it like that, man, it's a special program. That's a team that's looking at X's and O's. That's a team that's looking at ways to win on the field that don't have to do with emotion. And I think maybe that's a way that Warren Easton has to go in the future. Obviously, they know better than me, but that's just what I'm talking about, looking at it from the sideline. Now, for this game right here, for Carter to move on, their offense and their defense, this is probably not the greatest team like in the past few years. I think they had some probably better teams in the past few years, but they're still as explosive, and it starts and it ends at the wide receiver position for this team. This team can go 7, maybe 6, 7 deep at the wide receiver position. Last week, 4-star guy, and Aaron Anderson. They lost him in the first quarter, they replaced him with like a freshman, Kyle Lampton, who looks as fast, if not faster. And it's just, I hope Anderson can play next week. It'd be very bad if he can't play next week. I mean, I think that if it had a Marine crew, they would have threw a flag on him and they would have went about their business. You know that when you have a refereeing crew that's out of town, that's never seen your team play, this was a Shreveport crew. You do
Right.
anything cross the line, you can get kicked out of the game. He got ejected out of the game, and I hear that the rule is that you get ejected for fighting. You can't play the next game. So able to appeal that because I think that kid is deserving to play in the game. But at the same extent, if he doesn't play, they'll just replace him with a ganger. That's what they do. They got Destin Hill, a guy that's being recruited by 20, 30, programs. Aaron Anderson being recruited by 20. They got Danye Brooks, a senior, 180 pounds. He can catch the ball. I just said in Lampton, a 10th grader who had never seen until like the last few games of the season. He had 2 touchdowns versus Warren Easton. Then you
Sure
got the
did.
McMahon at LSU, Urine McMath, the Baracy McMath. He can get a big play. And then there's another guy maybe y'all never heard of called August Banks Jr. A guy who barely gets into the game, but when they call his number, he's acing it past guys. So from the wide position, and then they have a sophomore quarterback getting it done in Antarius Samuels. He's found his footing in terms of running the ball. He didn't really run the ball that much early in the season. Now he's showing that he has some skates on him as well. You add that to his pinpoint accuracy at times and his ability to get the ball down the field. If it's Destin Hill 1-1 in a fade situation, the ball is going to Destin Hill. That's going to be a perfect pass, and more often than not, that's going to be a touchdown. Then obviously you got the tough running backs in the backfield. Maroney, he's been there for a while. We all know he's a pretty tough back. They got Jawin Newman, who's a change of pace type of back. So they're going to put points on the board. And this it has strong deep line. The defensive backs, they've stepped it up big time in these last few weeks. Warren Easton, they have a great wide receiver and crew. Casey Kane did his thing. Let's
Casey
give him
Kane.
some credit in that game.
Yeah.
But the others are basically shut down. Rashad Gonzalez, Cody Collins in the backfield. They got some athletic guys back there at the linebacker position. Torrey Morgan, and I think we all know every year Carr Fields a strong defensive line. Now going into this championship game, I would say the one thing that maybe to look out for is that they're not playing Neville. If they're playing Neville, they would be flying high right now because Neville is a rival. It's something they'll get excited about. They're playing Karen Crow. They don't have any connection to that team. And the last time they went into a game like that, when they really didn't have a kind of a connection to the opponent they were facing, I believe was a few years ago when they had when Speedy was.
East
No,
Jeff.
actually they played
East
Neville in
Jeff.
that. Yeah, you're right. In the East Jefferson game, they
That was
didn't have a
Speedy.
connection to the East Jefferson game. They thought they were playing Neville that week, and they came into that game with no type of energy, no type of emotional pull toward the game, and they let East Jefferson get inside them early. East Jefferson believed that they could win, and East Jefferson was able to get that game. So the only thing I would look out for in this game is that they have no connection with Karen Crow. So will they go in that game without any emotion at all, without any type of feel for the team that they're facing? That might be the only thing to look down on them on in this game. But other than that, man, Carr chop your head, man. And they got the team to do it this year again to go for this 5th title.
Wow. Jared, let me get your thoughts on this matchup. Hank, I'm gonna ask you one more question in a minute, but let me get your thoughts on this matchup here in Class 4A, Jared.
Before I say that, I just want to go back to this post I put up in regards to AJ Samuel and Arch Manning. So if people said I was hating on Arch Manning, I wasn't hating on Arch Manning at all. What I was saying was this: Arch Manning is getting a lot of publicity for just being a Manning, but there is another
Yep.
quarterback in the city that is just as good as he is throwing the ball, and that is AJ Samuel. I'm not just saying that because he's my cousin. I'm really just speaking the truth about it. And also said that if AJ Samuel can grow up to be 6'2", the big schools are going to come coming. He's only 6 feet, but he's only a sophomore, so he's probably not even done growing. But AJ Samuel is just as good as Arch Manning and has played against better and tougher competition than Arch Manning. I'm not hating on Arch because he's good, but I had to get that out there. Now, in regards to this game here, I don't think Bryce Brown is going to let this team not be ready to play Karen Crow. I think Bryce Brown is a hell of a coach. I love what he's done since since he took over the Carr program. I think he will have his team ready to play Karen Crows. And yes, it's a brand new team. It's not a Warren Easton team. It's not a Neville team. He will have them ready to play. I don't think Karen Crow has saw the type of speed that they will see come next Wednesday, I believe, or next
Tuesday,
Tuesday
I
when they
believe.
next
Tuesday,
Tuesday. Next Tuesday. Yeah. So
29th.
29th. And like Hank says, Carr can plug in 7, 8 receivers and just get them the ball. But Destin, Fat, Hill, that is the man. That is the man. I don't think anybody on Karen Crow's team can cover him one on one. They really gonna
And
have to
Warren
try to.
Easton covered him a freshman with a
Yeah,
freshman last week, and the freshman was
yeah,
pretty good. He was a pretty good freshman. I'm not gonna
He
lie.
did his
Give a lot
thing.
of props. He didn't back down. He didn't back down, but I mean, you're gonna get played if you go against Destin Hill with a freshman.
yeah. Totally agree. So they could try to double Destin Hill, but other receivers gonna be wide open. So yeah, I really believe the speed for Carr is gonna be too much for Karen Crow. I've heard a whole lot of talk that Karen Crow's the team. Karen Crow's the team that's gonna take out Carr. We will see, but I don't believe it's gonna happen. I got Carr winning this.
Great points on that one. Dashone, your thoughts of the Class 4A game?
So real quick, I think and you all were pretty much on base with everything that you said. You brought up something earlier about the Carr and Warren Easton matchup. I think that Warren Easton's their issue isn't a talent. It's kind of like how we were talking about Sean Payton making calls for Drew Brees, but why he had Taysom in the game. I think that's kind of what Easton issue is that they get into this pissing match, and I don't understand it. It's like, situational football calls for you to call a certain type of play. But whenever Carr and Easton is in the game, it's all out the window. It's like y'all throwing the ball, we throwing the ball, no matter what the down is. And I think that gets away from them, and that works out for Carr. I mean, honestly, that's what keeps a lot of games close when Carr with other games. I mean, to be honest, say Carr would have beat St. Aug had they just played their game normally. You allow St. Aug to hang around in that game. And that's how you lost that game, because you decided, well, you want to throw the ball, we want to throw the ball. We want to throw the ball all day just for the hell of it. And Warren Easton and Carr almost the same type of people, just to do it. But it's just that it works out in Carr's favor, like you alluded to earlier, King. They have like 12 receivers that they can throw the ball to. They're just plugging and play with the same results. Warren Easton has plug and play, but I mean, somebody has to yield. And it's, for whatever reason, it's always been Carr. So I think if Warren Easton's going to have Carr's number, which this year could have been that year, because this is actually a down year for Carr, and that sounds foolish.
Yes, that's what I've been telling people. I've been telling people this is not one of those world beater teams. This is one of those not middle of the road, but this isn't one of their super incredible teams. This is just a solid team that if they make a couple of bad mistakes, you can stay in the game with them. We've seen it. They play down to the competition times this season, so you can have an opportunity. But man, you like you said, I didn't really know that. I mean, I can see that from an emotional standpoint that's what they're doing. But if they're out there saying, "Hey, we're gonna do what Carr can do it even better," then that's a recipe for disaster. I would be trying to lower this game. I would be trying to conservatize this game, make it a bullet running game to where it's a one-score game in a fourth quarter, and you have a chance to maybe pull out. It seems to me like, every time they play the game, it's like, okay, we both no, y'all not both at the top of the mountain. One is trying to get to the top of the mountain, and you can't play you on that level already when you're not. And maybe they need to like dial it back a notch in these games.
Hank, let me ask you this question right quick, Hank. Let me ask you this question, because I've said for a long time that Carr is Warren Easton's kryptonite. But let's go back 2 years ago. Do you think if Lance LeJean does not get hurt, do you think Warren Easton wins that football game?
We were scared in that first half until he got hurt. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what this football was to say on that game, but I do know that in that first half, him getting hurt, he was doing basically anything that he wanted to do, and they might have had an opportunity to win the game. But who knows if they'd have blown in the end like they do, in previous instances. So Carr has a built-in lineage, man, for so long, and you see it with good teams in college. You see it with good teams in the pros. No matter what the players are, they had that culture that just is able to manifest itself from team to team to team, and this team has it too. They find ways, and it's going to be difficult for Ken to beat this team just off the athletic aspect to it. So for me, my only way of thinking that Carr will lose this game is if they go into this game with that emotional edge on zero. You know,
Yeah.
they go into the it's COVID, it's just after Christmas. I got my new video game, I got my new PS5. You know, let me go home and play. In their head, they're not emotionally invested in Karen Crow against the East End or against a Neville, then Karen Crow might have a shot. But if they're invested in the game, I can't see them losing the game because they don't lose games they're invested in.
Right.
Right.
So Dashone,
So again, you know, I think that as far as this championship game is concerned, I think that the approach to Carr has to be let's run the ball. Like you have to get Carr off of the field. Like whether or not you're putting points off on the board is one thing, but allowing Carr to have 5 opportunities in a first to be on offense, like that's a recipe for disaster. I just told you they're gonna throw. I mean, literally, they would throw the ball like if he was out there. Like they don't.
And they throw it to me on fourth down.
Yeah,
They throw it to me on 4th and 15
without hesitation. I mean, it doesn't matter who they're throwing the ball to. And they have that kind of confidence. And shouts out to their coach Bryce Brown. I mean, developing AJ Samuels into the play he is. We know he was going to be a stud, but he's progressing on really, really nice. And he has a better understanding of the offense and just how much of an impact that he can make in the offense against opposing defenses.
Y'all talk about the 2 short quarterbacks, man. The 2 short quarterbacks these last couple of years for Carr, they've been amazingly accurate. Probably in the older court, like the Munchie Lagos and the taller guy.
Yeah.
The last 2 quarterbacks, they've been AJ Simpson. He could throw it on a laser, and the guy before him, his name is escaped. Yeah, he's at Nichols. Yeah, he's at Nichols right now. Honestly, guys, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know how that guy's at Nichols. I thought he'll get recruited to like a Memphis or something like that. To me, he was so accurate and so on the mark. I just felt like he would get an opportunity to play at a bigger college. So I really think Nichols are gonna get a really good one in this kid once this kid is able to get out there on the field. He's incredibly accurate. I don't know where they find these guys, man.
Well, listen, the guy. Right. So AJ Samuels, I've known him for a while, but he has his tool package is only getting better. He's probably going to go down of all those quarterbacks that we named. He's going to be the most polished quarterback to come out of there, and that says a lot considering how much they've won over the past few years.
Alden Clark, you gonna be more polished than that. I mean, my God, I mean that's hard.
And here's the thing:
Clark sat behind Speedy for a few years and got the toolage and he knew what his role in. I assure you, I put the money on it. You could take it to the bank. AJ Samuels would be a more polished quarterback than every other quarterback they've had coming out of there. And
I'm seeing his improvement. I'm definitely seeing his improvement. Yeah. Definitely seeing his improvement.
And the thing is, he's growing. And the thing is, to me, looking at it, like to me, the quarterback and wise at Carr, more than anything else, it's Alden, Munchie, Leonard Kelly. We can't forget about Patrick Surtain. No disrespect.
Don't forget.
So let
Tonka too.
For me, that's who AJ saying remind me of right now. The way Tonka was throwing that ball, and he had more yards than Munchie. That's the trip part. He had over 3,500 yards passing, 700 rushing. I mean, amazing. I had to look at the stats myself that year, and I'm like, how in the world you got more yards than Munchie? And he got called to the championship game. Probably maybe the best state championship game I ever seen. Too bad they lost to Franklin in overtime. But my God, Tonka was unreal the way he had to step up in that 1 year and got called to the dome. But looking at
Samuel, he's starting to run the ball now, and now he's starting to run the ball. It's becoming impossible to do anything now. Before early in the season, he wasn't taking off unless he had to. Now he's making like business decisions to take off, and he's showing consistently that he can run the ball. He's shaking guys. He putting them in a mix match a little bit versus one. I hadn't seen him do that earlier in the season. So if he runs the ball and he's gonna do that, incorporating this game for the next 2 years in court, you already know he got the arm to get it to where he did it. Yeah, he could be scared to get that growth spurt.
Yeah,
absolutely. And when he gets that growth spurt, he gonna look like how Munchie was. You had to think Munchie was like a 5'8", 5'9" quarterback, and all of a sudden he ballooned. And I remember that time my first couple of months, and then all of a sudden, a couple of years later, I run into Jabbar Jalou, and Jabbar was like, "Hey, come take a look at this." I said, "What?" And he pointed out the munch. I said, "God dang, was he this short?" I'm like, he grew about 3 inches. I said, "Wow." And he just
If
blew
you ever
up
saw his
from
mom,
there.
you why his mom is tall as cheese. I think she was like a something like that
Wow.
back in the day, but his tall as cheese. So I knew that he would probably hit something in puberty. Might.
Exactly the point. But going into the game myself, and I'm thinking one thing about, I'm going to say this about Jerry Phillips. Great man, great coach. He is going to get a state championship one day. He will get it at Easton. It probably maybe if he go into his last year coaching there, or Bryce Brown going there his last year, because eventually he's going to get a bigger opportunity soon. And I know he's hanging with Carl for the longest. He's been there a long time. But I think he's going to get that
Yeah,
opportunity. But
I think
looking
that's
at
gonna
it,
happen too.
yeah. But see, Bryce Brown has been doing unbelievable call. I think the Cougars right now are playing well. AJ Samuel to me is the best quarterback in the state right now. I don't care what anybody says. Arch is great, but this man has done a lot under duress, especially the competition. Is this Carr team good as any other team? I think they're as good as the Tonka team. They resume wise are as good as that championship team. I bet say the all the Clark senior year. To me, that is as good. The resume is as good as that team because you look at Clark's schedule. This is one of their toughest schedules they probably ever faced. That the last 2 years of Clark's schedule has been the toughest ever. I've never seen schedules like this. When you go against Easton, a Catholic of Baton Rouge, a John Curtis, you go against St. Alls, you go
Yeah,
against
Carl
and
don't
these
dodge
both
nobody.
no, and they had to put away St. Paul's they used to play every year, which was a tough opponent.
And they played
Amazing.
at St. Paul every year. Never a home game. Never
Right,
a home game.
right. Never home game. To see now, you
Never
look at the
a
last
home
couple of
game for
years.
St. Paul's.
I said this last year about Carl, and I picked them to win it last year for one reason only. Even when they won at Neville, I said they're gonna win at Neville. Carl's schedule's too tough. Neville ain't ready for this. They're not ready, and that experience is gonna have them so focused. Carl's not intimidated against nobody. They're not intimidated against nobody. They're like this: strap it
Why
up,
would they
let's
be?
go, let's go. Because
Why
I
would
don't
they
care
be?
how big
Everybody's
they are, whatever.
scared of them.
Nobody, they're not
Right,
scared of
right.
anybody. And this season they're really
Yeah,
good.
well,
Now you go against
they
Karen
gotta go
Crow.
out of state to
Karen
find
Crow,
somebody to be scared of, man.
yeah, Karen Crow is really good, and I give them that. They're big up front. They run the ball well. They have a game plan that can help them. Could be an interesting game. But here's the thing about Karen Crow's offensive line. I'm gonna say this to Jerry and other people keep talking about the Karen Crow's offensive line. Ooh, ooh, ooh. They have not met a D line like Carr. I'm telling you now. If that D line for Carr sets the tone, Karen Crow's in trouble. Karen Crow's in big trouble. Karen Crow showed a little bit of a passing game last week. They did. My thing is they're gonna have a
They have no
passing game
passing
a
game.
little bit.
Madness. If they
Huh?
have no passing game, then it's over with.
That's what
They
I'm
have no
saying.
passing game. They're not winning this game. Not winning this
I'm
game
not
yet.
just they got a little bit of a passing game, but here's my thing about that. I've seen the St. Thomas More game, and when they lost St. Thomas More at home at the Cordon, I've seen enough. I don't think they have enough to beat Carr. Think they have enough. The biggest thing, and I've seen in the state championship game in I believe it was 2011 or 2014 against West Monroe. Probably one of the worst West Monroe teams ever to beat in the dome. They had 5 turnovers, and Karen Crow did not take advantage of a one. And the biggest thing I said, if Karen Crow had a passing game, they win the ball game easy, and they didn't. And West Monroe's defense, some way, somehow, got them by with the state championship. I really think Karen Crow's offense, the run game is going to help them. They need to keep Carl off. But if they don't get any points on the board, if they don't go with the play action and try to connect on passes or anything, it's going to be a long night. But I expect it to be close. I think Carl wins 5 straight. It's going to be a good game, but I think Carl wins 5 straight. I think what Karen Crow has is good, but I don't think it's going to be enough for the Carl Cougars. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Cool.
Yeah. But Hank, man, thank you for coming on, bro. Man, I had another question, but we're gonna hold that up. I know it's past our time and everything. I want to have you on again because I want to do a best of 2020. I want to try to have you on there. It'd be interesting to have you on for that. But then not just that, I'm gonna ask you more about the Algiers culture around there, especially about the Landry Walker thing. So hold
Okay,
your
cool,
thoughts
cool,
on
cool,
another show on that because we definitely want to talk about that and get your thoughts on it and the history of what went on with that and everything. So I'll
cool.
hold your thoughts. I'm gonna have you
Definitely
another
got some
on
things to
another
say on
show.
that. Definitely. All
Yes,
right.
yes. So I'm gonna
You
bring
didn't
him
say
back
the most
on that.
important thing, man. He didn't say the
What's
most
that?
important thing. I thought y'all was
What's
bringing
that?
Hank on,
Go
but
Cougar.
no, man. I want Hank to say running like people are chasing him. He says this like at all. That's
Run
like
like
an
people.
iconic line for him, man.
The lines that this man come up
Man,
with,
I need Zarez and
especially
Tony Satchel to give me a deal, man. Come on, man. I've been putting it out there. I've been
Yeah,
putting shaking
yeah.
like Tony
He
Satchel for
shake,
like 10
shake him
years,
up like
man.
some of the Thatchers. Yeah, man. Oh man.
I'm gonna
Man.
tell you how real
And I
Hank
even
is.
your man, I got shaking him up like Zarez. I think was he shit somebody. So yeah,
Yeah.
we have fun with it.
I'm
And
gonna
just
make a shirt
every
that say
single
that, man.
year, I can't believe we this deep into it. It's 2020. I can't believe we this deep into the program doing what it's doing. But man, my kids, they getting it done, man, and I'm enjoying watching it.
I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you coming on, bro. This is the realest dude I know, bro. I remember I went to the Algiers parade when Carr and Landry Walker celebrated, and he's on one of the floats, and he sees me and calls my name. So that's big time recognition, man. So I appreciate this guy, but we always run into each other all the time, man. But we're gonna have you on another show. Dashone, thank you for joining us for the day. Appreciate it. Jared JB, appreciate you. I need to holler at you a couple minutes if you got a little time, just at least 5 minutes after the show. We cool with that?
I can't do it. I'll call you. I'll call you
Let's
later.
do it.
Yeah, I'll call you
Yeah,
later.
call
I'll
me
call you.
later. I hope you're not mad at me, bro.
Man,
Nah,
they
nah.
found a way to win him. God damn.
No. Jared kind of running things on the New Orleans side, so I respect him on that one. But Jared, I'm gonna ask you this, Jared. I know next week we're gonna take a little time and stuff. What day during the week or the following week you want to do a recap on the championship since the last championship on that Wednesday? When you want to do that?
Saturday.
Saturday?
Yeah,
Okay.
next Saturday. Yeah,
Not this Saturday, but the following Saturday.
correct. Yes.
Yeah, let's do it like that. Let's do it like that. Cool, cool.
All
We'll
right.
set up a time.
Oh yeah, the
And
game
Hank,
is on
I'll be in
CBS today. I'm
contact with
sorry.
you. Yeah,
Cool,
I'll
man.
keep in
Cool.
contact with Hank. All right. But
All right,
for the
guys.
for
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all for having me
Jared,
on. I appreciate it.
no problem.
All right, Hank.
For Hank Brady, for Deshaun Denham, Jared JB Board on VK Jones. Tune in not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. VK Jones show. We'll let you know the time. Recap all the state championships, best of 2020. And y'all have a happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everybody. Hope everybody got their Christmas shopping done. Be safe, 6 feet apart, wash your hands, and also don't drink and drive. Merry Christmas, y'all.
Use Lysol.